And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the Sparkling Tuna Cup. The Sparkling Tuna Cup number 114, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft, of open StarCraft. Whew, welcome. I'm of course I VIP with you and joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome. One little exclamation mark. Be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at yourselves. The bracket is live, the bracket is stacked, the bracket, is gonna start again on momento. As looks like we did accidentally have someone pick the wrong race, so we'll have to switch things up. There we go, getting back to game one. But again, exclamation mark, be in the chat. The bracket is live, the bracket is stacked. For those that are maybe tuning in for the first time, this is a weekly tournament. This is our equivalent of the Wardy TV Monday or Pigster Cup or Monday Night Weeklies, except we've been running our tournaments for a lot longer, of course. This is the 114th week of STC. That's a lot of weeks, papi. It's a lot of weeks. That's a lot of tuna. That's a lot of sparkling. And here we go. We have our first series of the broadcast. It is going to be a ZVT, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have not quite a tuna, but another fellow animal. Oh, no. It is the Orange Terran player for 3D Clan. It is Milky Cow. Un momento. Milky Cow. Give us like an orange tinge. I'm just changing his, there we go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the teal Zerg player, the teal Zerg player himself. It is GgMaChine. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is Gamba time. Predictions are open, place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our ZVT. Hey, when it comes to the rest of the brackets, we'll be discussing it after this series. There is a lot to get into. There are a lot of matches, a lot of series, and a lot to delve our feet into as well. Even some returning top players. We'll get there, of course. For the time being, we have our ZVT. Welcome to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock is one of the more aggressive maps of the map pool. It has more open bases, more open third, more open fourth base, shorter rushes by ground. Typically, aggression is favored, and this goes both ways, referring to Roach aggression or Lingbane aggression from Zerg, but at the same time also referring to 8 Raxes from the Terran. So we'll see how intense we're going to be. Bearing in mind as well that Milky Cow is a bit of a diverse player, to the point where he is willing to mix in mech. We have seen him mech it up before, and we'll see if he does it again. Oh boy. Mech, of course, is a different beast coming into the latest patch and coming into this map pool as well, just because of the change to the Cyclone. So battle mech is not quite as viable, but mech itself is still very much so an option. But we'll get there if we do kind of head down that road and head that direction. For now, we're settling in. SCV scout across the map. Overlord does poke in, checking the natural. As GgMaChine here will check, he will confirm that we have a standard opener so far, and the Reaper is on the way. Otherwise, hope you all had a lovely weekend as we wrap up the weekend and head towards Monday. Hope you've all been doing well. Again, we had a lot of StarCraft after the weekend. We had KSL yesterday, we had Ducklings Open yesterday. Today we have, of course, the Tuna Cup. So we get into the Monday Night Weeklies tomorrow, of course. If you're curious how the weather's been here in Australia, it's been insanely hot. It was yesterday, right? It was yesterday that was 40 degrees Celsius, which was lovely. It was summer is hitting hard, man. It's hitting hard. But we're okay. We're okay. We'll make it. We'll survive. We will survive. Meanwhile, we do have Milky going for his third CC before Starport. Economic build here by our Terran player, followed by the Starport. So everything's looking as it should be. Nothing crazy so far. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. Keep forgetting it's hotter over on that side of the planet. yeah. Like here, like Christmas time is like deep in summer. So, very nice catch as the Reaper barely gets away. Barely does get away. Does dip out. But yeah, Christmas is deep in the summer, so like the whole like snow motif isn't really a thing here. Obviously, Christmas is all about thongs, all our barbecues, all about surviving the summer weather. as Mokia does poke in. And pokes in is going to be zoned away behind this green 360 Banshee. So again, just very standard play here. The goal of these, the role of these Hellions is just to poke in, deny creep, and keep tabs on the droning and on any kind of move out, any kind of aggression from GgMaChine. Ideally, you don't want to lose these Hellions. They do play their role coming into the mid game, especially when it comes to the first 7-minute push. If you keep your Hellions alive, you can always morph them into Hellbats and actually help them support the tank-based move outs later on down the line. For now, they're getting a tumor here and there, and nothing too bad here as we rotate once again, looking for more tumors. Meanwhile, GgMaChine is going lair first. Sorry, Bailey Nest first into a lair. So very safe build, very, very safe. There's no reason to get a Bailey Nest this early on unless you're a little bit afraid of Hellbats. So Bailey Nest first, then by a lair, just really safe. This tells me that the lair is going to be delayed, so the lair is a little bit later. The upgrade's going to be a little bit later as well. Just hyper safe out of GgMaChine. As the Hellions are also doing a great job here at denying creep. Just rotating once again, getting another 2 tumors. Getting 1. Yeah, just 1 tumor, threading the middle line. Queens are out of position. Drones, they do pull away in time. Whew. That was close. Yeah, that was close. As getting more active tumors. I think there's one active tumor here in the center and no active tumors on the left-hand side. So just 1 active tumor overall. So far, again, Milky Cow's done a great job at setting up for what? For the follow-up. 3 racks is on the way, building up into a 5-rack setup. He is getting there. And we'll see how aggressive he does plan on being. Ooh, we have more Raxes. More Raxes on the way. So again, 4, 5 in total. We'll see if he takes his gases at his 3rd. We'll see if he doubles down into an 8 Rax. For now. Banshees, they do move in. Cloak is a bit premature. There we go. Activates Cloak, moves into the mineral lines. We are already running out of energy on one of those Banshees, but 2 Banshees can 1-shot drones, and he's going to get a handful of them. Gets 1. Gets 1, 2, 3 drone kills, 4 drones. Oh my god. 4 drone kills. Nice damage here by GgMaChine. Gets 4 workers, pulls away. Oh. Gets another. Gets 5 in total. Hellions are going to get surrounded though. Yeah, Hellions are trying to go for the dive, and a good chunk of them do get caught out. Yeah, so a bit of extension here from Milky Cow. Nice damage with the Banshees, but the Hellions were a little bit lackluster, and that was how many? That was 2. Okay, 2 Hellions going down. Does pull away. Oh, and GgMaChine, as he has been playing the role of the defender, and so far he's done an okay job. Again, he's barely got any creep on the map, unfortunately, but he does have an infestation bit first, before any other tech structure. So we're going Lingbane into Pits, into Hive Tech. So far, it looks like the plan is to skip Hydras, to skip the Spire, and potentially go pure Lingbane into Ultra. Now, we should be getting a couple of Infestors, especially if GgMaChine feels under threat. Infestors are going to be an option here to be safe, and to keep him safe and secure with those fungal growths. But for now, his goal here should be to rush into, oh, I was going to say Ultra. He is going for the Hydrogen. Okay. He is taking the Hydrogen. Oh, no! As Milky Cow does pull back. Does lose a Marine. And the drop rate will continue. Now, because this Hydrogen is so delayed, it does mean that anti-air is quite limited here for GgMaChine. It means that the Terran can drop in, pick away at the Lings, threaten the mineral line, and does get into the mineral line. Oh, does get a drone. Gets a Queen, not bad. 2 drones, a Queen. Does barely pick up in time. And so far, it's traded well. It's trading well. Because of the faster Hive, we're going to be expecting Hive upgrades, of course, but this is leaning a little bit more towards Viper Tech and more towards Lurkers. So we'll see the direction that GgMaChine does head in once the Hive is done. Meanwhile, 4th CC. 4th CC is on the way, so Milky Cow is not going for a 3-base all-in. I mean, by now we would have seen a push. So he's keeping his reinforcements back at home. His tanks, his Marines, Changelings do spot this as well. Changelings also confirm the 4th command center. Oh, but the drop will actually kill an expansion. Not bad. Northern base goes down. Oh. Medevacs pull away. GgMaChine is being spread thin. Does pick up a medevac. Gases are being taken. That will allow a second factory. Yep, second factory is already up. Woodmine production has begun. And Hydras are revealed. And we spoke about it, right? So if we're seeing a hive with hydras, then we should be seeing lurkers. And there it is, lurker den is on the way. That's going to be the big power spike for GgMaChine, is the lurker tech. So we'll see if we can get there. I believe Milky Cow should be the first to push. And there should be a window in time where he can move out before there are any lurkers. Yeah, speaking of, here he comes. So this is the first main push here for the game, from the game. Up until this point, it's just been drop play. So he moves out with the main army. He's setting up for the southern 4th. 5th base even. Okay, going for the 5th. Bane does collapse in. Yeah, dragging some line shots. The Hellbats, they hold their own. And Milky Cow is pushing in. He's breaking through. Where are the Banelings? Not enough. Yeah, there's not enough Banelings. We have 7 Banelings now rolling in. The Lings are a little bit premature. The base goes down. Very nice target firing. Oh my god. Does pick up in time, and Milky Cow, he trades insanely well here. Takes down the base. Trades well against the Ling Bane. You can see how low these medevacs are. They're barely standing. 3 of them barely in the air. But Milky Cow, he has momentum. And remember, we spoke about this. There's a window in time where he can keep doing this and keep trying to break GgMaChine before lurkers. Lurker Den is done, but the lurker upgrades are still in the way. So again, there's still that window before lurkers. So he gets 3 Banelings. We'll lose a medevac. Maybe even 2. Now, wouldn't mind to drop on the top side. Does split the word Banelings. Nice target firing once again. The Marines, they just stim on in. Uh-oh. Yeah, GgMaChine is racing on over. Dead underestimate the power of the drop. Lings are going down. Queen goes down. And the base shouldn't fall, but this is still just a lot of efficiency, a lot of value out of the Terran. As drops are continuing, and you can see GgMaChine is running out of supply, or he's dropping below. He's jumping down, back. Mine shots are popping up. Milky Cow rallying towards the top side. What do we have to defend? 0 Banelings. No shots. 0 Banelings to defend? He can just stim and win. Yeah, there's no need to split, no need to spread. He'll just stim on forward, takes down the base, then he just takes the army. He just takes the army down. Yeah, Queens, they're falling one after the other. Milky Cow, he can keep pushing. We can see that GgMaChine is desperate, going for a counterattack. Going across the map. Meanwhile, lurkers have morphed in, or they're morphing in as we speak. Can he get them? There's 8. Got a chance to use. Down to 7. Sorry, down to 6 even. Yeah, 6 lurkers left. And GgMaChine, you can see he's barely holding the line here. If it wasn't for these lurkers, the game would be over. The game would end. As Ling Hydra would not have been enough. So very clutch hold. Oh, I got out! That's Milky Cow. Yeah, finds out the hard way, goes within range of lurkers, he bleeds out half his army. What we should say though is the lurker count is still quite low. Oh. Barely gets away. But another expansion goes down. GgMaChine is stuck on 4 bases. He can barely afford his army. Oh, pushing into the planetary. Okay. We'll bring it down. Has enough Lings. Banelings do morph in. So better trades here for GgMaChine. Nice fight. Can he get into the mineral line? Oh, not quite. Oof. Doesn't quite get in. At the same time, neither swarm into the main base. Milky Cow does notice. Is denied. It's barely denied in time. Scanning, checking for any kind of bird units. And we're in a very intense game state. It's very tense. GgMaChine, economically, he is struggling. He desperately needs another expansion. The drone count is decent, but remember, we're long distance mining, right? This is very inefficient mining here out of the Zerg player. At the same time, I believe his lurker count is quite low. Yeah, only 6. He still only has 6 lurkers. Speaking of 6, down to 5, down to 4, 3, 2. 2 lurkers left. Massive blunder there from GgMaChine. They're expensive, papi. And you can see Milky how it's maxed. The Terran army is maxed out. GgMaChine, he does have the bank to morph in some lurkers. There we go. We have 11 lurkers on the way. That's all his money. That's all his gas. So we can still hold his own. Oh no! Oof. Gets my shots going off. Gets a Viper. One Viper left. GgMaChine, he at least does save the northern base. Oh god, no! The mine shots. The mine shots are popping off. Bad. But at least the lurker count is high enough. At this point, with 11 lurkers, he should be able to hold the line. He should be able to defend, preserve his bases, and recover. There are a lot of ghosts, that is true. Well, Milky getting caught out. He's out of position, bleeds out 2 Marauders. Ideally, you want to build up a Bio Ghost tank, a Liberator composition, and Milky isn't there yet. In regards to pushing out into lurkers. Speaking of. Lurkers at 9 bases. Milky how he's still only on. He's got 2 starports. Now building on more ghosts. Building on more. You want big shout out to No Screen in the chat. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing with Twitch Prime for 8 months. 8 months in a row. God, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the casting. Hope you enjoy the style. Hope you enjoy. Bearing in mind, this is still game 1, by the way. Still game 1 of the series. Ooh, as GgMaChine completely out of position, he gets distracted. He does react to the southern drop, but meanwhile, at the same time, the northern base is completely exposed. And there's nothing left to defend. There's nothing here. Which means Milky can just keep pushing. Just keep going. Gets one base, he can go for the other. And go for another. Are the lurkers in the Nidus? They are. I was curious. I was like, where are the lurkers? They're in the Nidus worm. Another base goes down. Again, I don't think Milky necessarily knows just how vulnerable GgMaChine is. Oh. Does go for the counter attack. Does not get the planetary. Repairs it too good. Repairs it too good. Base goes in. There we go. Lurkers are revealed. They will defend. Oh, but these are some rough losses for the Zerg. Leading out more Hydras. Losing another expansion. That is what, 3 bases going down in less than a minute. Oh, that's a kill. Kill, not a cancel. Lurkers, they do get on top of the planetary. Now it's going to be Milky How's turn to be out of position. Okay, Milky House out of position. Planetary goes down. A mineral line as well. Lurkers are coming in. Oh, lurkers have no support. Yeah, they have no support. Snipes will connect, and every lurker is going to go down. There's no way out of this. Oof. Yeah, there's no way out of this. Massive loss here for GgMaChine. He does trade though. He does pick up a couple of ghosts. Okay. Uh oh. We need a scan. Another scan. So this was a messy cleanup here from the Terran. Very, very messy. So on the one hand, he kills 13 lurkers. On the other hand, he bled out a lot of ghosts in the process. So we're getting messy. Getting very messy. Milky how he does take a fresh base, bottom left. GgMaChine, we got to spend our money. It's got 3k in the bank. Going into ultras. Oh boy. Now these ultras are lacking upgrades. We have kindness plating on the way. We still don't have ultra speed. GgMaChine, I feel like we shouldn't be taking this fight. We gotta calm down. Calm down, bad. Ultras are an interesting choice. Now, when it comes to this kind of game state where there are this many ghosts, I do think that you're kind of forced to go into Broodlord Infestor. That is kind of the most efficient late game composition that Zerg can get. Going into Ultra like this has potential, especially if Milky Cow is a little bit too aggressive. Then you can try to surround and lock down the army, but it does still feel a little bit risky. Oh, friendly fire! Oh my god! It does drag the mines in. Ultras are revealed. They don't have the upgrades, and the ultras, oh, the first one goes down. So diving in the medivacs. At the same time, Lings are going to be dealt with. Planetary does hold. It's a ghost. Let's get a ghost pushing into the planetary. Kind of splitting, just now finishing, and now here come the Mass Ultra. Gets a base. Gets the expansion. Look how he's racing on over. The ghosts are out of position. And GgMaChine does get an expansion. It's time to base. Liberators are finally on the way. Liberation. Happy, and thankfully we have some infestors also in production. Just now popping out. And depending on the angle here, GgMaChine can surround this army. Depending on the angle. And it's a little bit lopsided. Snipes are popping off, but it looks like there are plenty of ultras. Yeah, they're pushing through a nice bungle and the army's cornered. GgMaChine, he might barely have enough. He denies the base. Keeps chasing. We gotta keep going it out. Yeah, he can't quite keep pushing. There's just so many ghosts. The orbital goes down. Once again, GgMaChine trying to force a fight. Corners the army, but there's barely any anti-air. Yeah, we just pick up. Just pick up and leave. Picks up and pulls away. GgMaChine has a fresh mining base. He just got up and running. There's a scan. Okay, how he knows. Queues up the Liberator. It's still very, very close here. Still very intense between the two players. If given time, if this base stays up and running, then GgMaChine can start to overtake. That is true. Start to. Anti-air is limited. There's, what, 2 Hydras with the army. Wait for the northern base. We're trading bases. Planetary will go down. Brings down the planetary. Liberator denies mining. And GgMaChine pulls out. Dips in, kills the base, pulls away, rotates. So rotates back over. Lost an expansion himself, but the drones survived. That's what's important here, is that GgMaChine, he's been able to preserve his workers. I cannot say the same for Milky Cow. They're losing a lot of SCVs. You can see Milky how he's reading a rotation towards the south side. Whereas GgMaChine, he's in the center. We've got to pick and choose where we headed. Links to the top. Ultras towards the south. And in a head-on fight, I do favor the Terran. We do see the Milky how he has 15 ghosts. That's a lot of ghosts. And how many ultras? 0. There's 0 ultras. We have mainly Lane Bane Hydra. Nice EMPs. Yeah, very nice EMPs. There's 1 fungal left. I usually try to lunge in. Other snipes! Oh my god. Mass snipe on the Hydra. More snipes popping off. A decent fungal, but there's no follow-up. Yeah, there's no follow-up. Not enough Lings, not enough support. More Lings in production, but alas, Milky how it looks like he has done it. At the same time, we're trading bases. But Milky how can keep pushing. Finally, he gets a mineral line. Drones do not get away. GgMaChine just doing everything he can to force his opponent back home. And Milky Eye turns around. Oh. He turns around. Things they're popping up. More Lings on the way. Again, I favor Milky Eye in a head-on fight. But he's being pulled apart here. He races back home to defend, bleeding out more SCVs. At the same time, GgMaChine is going for that southern base. That one Zergling, he's killing everything. Killing all the SCVs. Oh my god, Liberator's a stack. Power bombs pop off. But the problem here is that Milky Cow has a massive army. As we mentioned before, in a head-on fight, Milky Cow will win. 100%. He will win the main fights, but only if he can get it. He's down to 9 SCVs. He barely has an economy. Meanwhile, GgMaChine, he double expands, top right and center right as well. He has 2 mining bases, and if given time, he can actually replenish his army. So 2 fresh bases. Milky Cow, he cannot stand by, he cannot stay idle. We got to do something about this. There's a scan. He sees. Yeah, there we go. Double scan. Milky Cow spots the bases. Up the frontal. Nice catch. Increases the army. Picks up a couple units here and there. Every unit counts. Nice scan. Spots the infestor. There's 1 more left. And because the Terran player is distracted, we're actually producing an army here. We have 24 more lings on the way. GgMaChine is slowly building up. Milky Cow going for the drop. Up! Might just hit anything. Might just to connect. GgMaChine wants to commit. Does want to commit in. Diving forward, gets a Widowmine. Widowmine goes down, there's 1 left. Goes off on the detection. And Milky Cow, he F2s. Yeah, he does F2. The job was rallied across the map, but he F2s back home. No! Keep going. Yeah, Milky Cow panicking towards the end there. Ooh, we have 8 lurkers morphing in. There we go, there's the unload. We got 1 expansion. Remember, there's still another. Pulls back. Oof. Again, we still have only 13 SCPs. Ah, no. It does feel like Milky Cow is taking too long. It feels like over time here, GgMaChine can just keep building up. Keep producing. He's now got a decent lurker count. Assuming he fights together, bearing in mind that the lurkers are left behind. So lurkers are defending on the south side. They're not going to be a part of the fight, not yet at least. As he defends top right. Yeah, he zones back the Terran. Defense top right. It's a double-edged sword. Because the main army for GgMaChine is towards the top side, it also means that there's no Ling Bane support. It means that if Milky Cow pushes in, he could potentially snipe every one of these lurkers. We'll see where he strikes. See how we engage. More bases here under control of GgMaChine. Expansions, more saturation. Oof, nice mine shot. Very nice. You know, Lings, they do rally past the Widowmines. They got 6 SCVs. Down to 8 SCVs left back. But Milky Cow does get another base. Okay. Oh, that one circling. Let's go. now we have some ultras in the mix as well. You can see finally, as you mentioned before, now that these bases have been left untouched, GgMaChine, he now actually has a high army supply. For a long time, for the past like almost 5 minutes, he didn't. But he's slowly now eclipsing the Terran. Lings, they do get into the main base, going for production, forcing response out of Milky Cow. So let's force a reaction. At the same time, lurkers are on the high ground. Oh my god! Yeah, man! Oh no! He throws everything away and runs into the lurkers. Face checks up the ramp. Ay ay ay! Oh, at the same time, lurkers they face check the ghost. No detection. Every lurker goes down. Okay, that was a better trade for the Terran, for Milky Cow. Picks off every single lurker. Oh, nice EMP, but there's still one infestor left. Okay, EMPs do land, and no more fungals. Snipes the expansion. Command center does go down. All in all, that was still a better fight for Milky Cow. He was able to snipe every single lurker. He was able to EMP the infestors. It's going to take quite some time for them to gather energy and be useful. There's a window. And he does get towards that northern base. GgMaChine, he responds with everything. This base is left completely exposed. Remember, typically we'd have lurkers here to defend, but they were just killed. Scans, does find the infestor. Finds one, finds an empty base. GgMaChine is racing over. He has Lings at least to defend. Oh my god, never mind. Brutal connection. He did have some awkward stutter stepping there, so did miss that volley. Hatchery survives. Another Medivac! No! Get out of here! Lose one! One full Medivac goes down. Milky Cow. That did slip up. A little bit distracted. He will get an expansion. But he'll lose the base. Yeah, he'll lose the CC. Bottlenet is going to go down. Again, we've been messy, Pappy. Like, oof. Phone connects, and this is going to be the final army here for GgMaChine. Sorry, for Milky Cow. Going to be losing almost everything. Medivac goes down. He's lost his bases, his mining. 0 economy remaining for the Terran. And GgMaChine has done it. GgMaChine, he has now done it. It's been a very intense back and forth here. 32-minute game one. There were times where, honestly, Milky Cow, he almost ended the game. I'm still thinking about that moment when he out-traded the Ling Bane when there were no lurkers yet, and when he took down this northern expansion. And we spoke about it at the time, if you remember. It was like, what, 20 minutes ago? But it was when Milky Cow went for his main push. He broke 2 bases. He was moving in, but then he backed off. He didn't realize there was nothing to defend, whereas he could have killed another expansion and even denied the lurkers. But GG gets called. GgMaChine cleans up the final army, and GgMaChine will take game number 1. Whew, GG, well played. A very chaotic, a very intense back and forth here. Again, both players were even you can see they were fraying towards the ends, towards the south side, the top side, in their defense and their aggression, and things were very messy towards the end. Whew. But GG, well played. Congratulations. GgMaChine does take a lead, but remember, that was only game 1. Now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. We're getting ready for game 2. Game 2 is going to be on where exactly? We're about to find out. Just catching up in the chat. Here we go. We're getting into our next game, getting into our second game of the series. You're going to be loading into Winter Madness. Let's go. We're spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness. We have the Orange Terran player, with the Orange Terran himself representing 3D Clan. Down in the series, we'll see if he bounce back and force the ace match. It is Milky Cow. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the teal Zerg player, the teal Zerg player himself, leading the series 1-0. It is GgMaChine. Ay, ay, ay. Here we go. We're getting into game 2. Again, a very intense game 1. It could have gone either way. There were better moments for Milky Cow. There were other better moments for GgMaChine. Again, things go very chaotic, very intense, very frazzled between the two players. And in the end, the Zerg player barely took the lead, barely took the game, and now we'll see if we can even force the ace match. Welcome to Winter Madness. Winter Madness is a much larger map of the map pool, much larger map, much more defendable map as well. It's going to be a little bit easier for the Terran player, for example, to build up towards a 4 and 5 base economy a little bit more freely. At the same time, because the longer rush distance by ground, we might even see players slow down a little bit more and tech up a little bit harder instead. We'll see. Also, because the map is a little bit larger, it does mean that Mutaplay is a viable option. Going to Spire, going to Mutaplay, that is going to be an option here for the Zerg player. I don't really know if GgMaChine is really one to play too much with Mutas, though. He might just embrace Lingbane Hydra again. We'll see. We got options back. I would say straight up off the gate, though, that aggression is not as favored here, so referring to 3 base all-ins, early roach timings, Lingbane all-ins, 8 ranks as well. In general, because the map is so large, these timings are going to be harder to pull off and easier to defend against. So we're expecting a longer game. Now we're selling in Hatchcast Pool, standard opener out of our Zerg player. Likewise, Milky are going for his own Rax Expand. Does hunt down the Overlord, not bad. Bearing in mind that Milky Cow did actually skip his Reaper, so no Reaper, which allowed him to hunt down the Overlord. No SCV Scout either, so is being greedy himself. Cutting corners. Does cut some corners, looking for another Overlord. He shouldn't find one though. Does poke in. Pokes in behind this, going for a 1-1-1, going for a delayed third base. Okay, a much more aggressive build this time. And remember, he's denying vision, denying scouting. Now with a 1-1-1, this does typically mean we're gonna be committing a little bit harder here into Hellion Banshee. Technically, we could see like a fusion core behind this going into BC production, but this is gonna be a much more committed build as we are delaying the third base quite heavily to pull this off. Ooh, Hellmat push. Okay, so now we see why. Now we see why we're committing as hard as we are. Sweet candle box. But we can see why we're committing here. It's going to be a reactored Hellion into Marauders into Armory into Hellbat push with medevac support. So very committed here on 2 bases. And remember, the first Overlord was sniped, so GgMaChine, he sees nothing. He's rushing into a fast lair. Oh my god. That's what a 3:33:20 lair timing. I mentioned earlier, gases are being taken. GgMaChine, he's trying to go into Mutaplay, which means he has no banelings. He has a lack of lings, a lack of queens. GgMaChine, he is vulnerable right now. He's being so greedy tech-wise. Oh boy. Armory's almost done. The armory is on the way. It does look like GgMaChine is trying to go into Mutas, but now is not the time. Not against this, but he doesn't know. He only sees the Hellions. And here we go. Marauders are on the way. More Hellions to reinforce. So far, GgMaChine is still in the dark. There's the Spire, as you mentioned. Like, his build did screen 2-base Muta. And that means he has so much less to work with. As he's spending money on his gas, on his lair, on his Spire. Less so on Link Queen. And here he comes. Here he comes. Diving on the Queens. Locking them down. He gets one. Oh. Clutch Transfuse. Gets a Transfuse off. The Queens, they should fall. Hellbats are morphing in. And there's nothing to defend. There's nothing here. There's three queens. 3 queens and a couple of Banelings morphing in. We'll see if they can finish. Oh, they might. He's going for them. Yeah, he's going for the Banelings. They will not finish. It's going to be closest to... zero Banelings. The boys are pulled into the Hellbats. And we're going to the ace match. We're going to game 3. 6 drones go down. More Hellbats are waddling in towards the main. The Queen barely gets away. No, doesn't even. Pulls off an injection. We have 2 more Banelings being morphed into the main. They're being morphed into the main base. Oh my god. As 20 drone, there's no way out. 20 drone kills. 20 drones go down. We have some Banelings. Nice splits. Yeah, nice last second splits. Banelings, they can raise the army, but there's still too much. There's too much Darren. Too many Hellbats, Pappy. Even the Liberator shows up. There's no anti-air. GG gets called, and we are going to game 3. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. Again, this was almost a blind counter to the 2-base Muta. Winding it back a little bit here. GgMaChine, he was blindly going into 2-base Muta, 320 layer timing, taking his gases, rushing to the Spire. Because of that, all his money is being spent on tech, all of his money is being spent on building up into Muta play, which meant less queens, less lings, later Baneling Nest, less of a defense against that all-in. Against the 2-base all-in. So very nice read here by Milky Cow, bearing in mind that he didn't scout, by the way. Like, Milky Cow didn't know what GgMaChine was doing. He was just assuming that he would be greedy. He's like, hey, I'm sure they play on the ladder. He's like, you know what? There is a higher chance that we see Mutas on Winter Madness just because of the map. That's why we brought it up at the start of the game. There's a higher chance of this happening. Let's just gamba. And hey, gambled well. Did gamble well. And now we're getting into the ace match, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Title Citadel. Oh, as we should fix up the nameplates. Un momento. Fix the map back. There we go. We have the Teal Zerg player, the Teal Zerg player himself, losing momentum in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back, and we'll see if he can make it through into the next round. It is GgMaChine. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the orange Zerg player, the orange Sharon, the orange Sharon player representing 3D Clan. It is GgMaChine. I think it's good to know high-level players die to the same thing as me. I mean, bearing in mind that it was almost a build order win, essentially, where we had a 2-base all-in up against 2-base Muta. As we mentioned before, 2-base Muta is more common in Winter Madness, but and all-ins are less favorable. But remember, another big part of why that all-in was a success, why Milky Cow was able to punish GgMaChine, is because the denied Overlord scout, right? The Overlord was sniped early, which meant that there was 0 scouting information, and that's on GgMaChine for him to be denied scouting but still take that risk and still go into Muta play despite not knowing what was going on. There's a world where maybe he goes for a Link Scout and maybe he sees the reinforcements, maybe he sees the move out, maybe he slips into the main base. There's a chance of that happening with Lings, definitely, but that would be the only chance. Would have been the only chance. Otherwise, we're settling in. We're settling in. Welcome to Title Citadel. Title Citadel is another larger map in the map pool. I will say that the bases are very spread out on this map, and that does make it difficult to defend, as you are very spread thin, and trying to defend your 3rd base, your 4th base, your 5th base, it can be quite difficult here, even more so than Ruby Rock, for example. Oh my god, we're going for a Roach Rush. Meanwhile, GgMaChine, he's done taking it. He's done taking it lying down. Now he stands back up. He's going for the Roach Run, going for the early Roach Rush. And now the turns have tabled, and now it is on the Terran player to scout. So the turns have tabled. The Reaper does survive. It heads out across the map, but again, the scout is delayed. Moves in with the SCV. Queen is in position. Queen does nice scouting. Does for the, yeah, he knows. Yeah, he knows. Immediately bunker is on the way. So that was a very crucial scout for Milky Cow. He saw what? He saw nothing being produced from larva. He saw empty larva, which would never be the case if you were droning. And now he confirms. Now he has full confirmation, but again, he noticed earlier with the idle larva. So the bunker is ready, and Milky Cow should be fine. He should be fine here. Now, these roaches will maintain low ground control. They'll have control of the low ground, control of the natural, and basically Milky Cow is ready to lift. He's ready to just lift, give up on the natural, and defend his main. That's why the bunker's on the high ground, not on the low ground. It is insanely difficult to defend on low ground here, especially with how wide and how open the natural is, so it's not worth it. Not worth it. Just defend on the high ground, lift up your CC, and then break out. We have a 3rd CC behind this, so Milky Cow is going for a follow-up. Meanwhile, we can see that GgMaChine, because he got scouted, he's not all in. He's going for a Roach Rush, but he's droning. He's droning up. He should be expanding behind this as well. There's the 3rd. So from here, we're macroing. The aggression has failed, and we move on. As roaches, they do threaten the natural. They do pick off some SCVs. Yeah, this is on Milky Cow. He does leave a couple of SCVs on low ground. That's going to be 3 dead SCVs. The Cyclone will eventually help break out. Then we can continue. But yeah, that was a little bit greedy of Milky Cow to leave some workers on low ground. So it did lose extra SCVs. But otherwise, we're building up. Double Evo Chamber, this should be for +1 range and +1 carapace. We should be embracing initially Roach Ravager, and then I would imagine, I mean, we have a choice to make. Either we commit into Roach Ravager into 1-1, then 2-2 upgrades into like a heavy Roach Ravager 2-2 timing, or we switch after +1 range into +1 melee into Ling Bane Roach Ravager into the mid game. We'll see. Ling speed is already on the way, so we're already working towards that transition. Already getting there. Yo, shout out to the Tuna. Ah, beautiful. So now Milky Cow poking in, turning away. We can see we're not even getting +1 range, so we're just making a faster transition out of Roach Ravager into Ling Bane. Going for an early infestation bit, interesting. We'll see if this is for safety infestors or if the plan is to rush into Ultra Tech. It's very tech heavy nonetheless. To get into the hive this quickly. As the game is still stabilizing. We are indeed getting safety infestors. Okay, so 2 safety infestors. Let's go. Nice drop out of the Terran. Gets an Overlord, gets a drone. Oh no! Ooh, does not get away. Bit of miscontrol there at Milky Cow. He had lifted up, he had saved his units, but he stuck around to heal the Marines. So was stuck on a move there. There's the fast hive, and again, as we mentioned, there's a 7-minute hive timing very early. I would imagine the goal here is for an earlier Ultra Cavern, but that's so expensive, and Milky Cow is pushing here and now. He's going for a 7-minute push. The goal here is to break the 4th base. Comes down to the fungal. Can he land it? Oh! Ooh, does crazy the army, not bad. Catching at half the Marines. Yeah, gets 1 half, but can he get the other? Not quite. Not quite. But last will force a pickup. And GgMaChine will hold. Whew. He does hold on. Drop into the main base. Do we get eyes on the would-be hive? Not quite. It doesn't spot the hive. Do we pile? Ah! Oh. Doesn't quite land. But crucial here that the hive was not scouted. The infestation bit wasn't scouted either. So Milky Cow is in the dark. Oh, going back in. Behind this, he's A-Raxing, correct? Yes, so 3-base all-in. 3-base all-in, you can see here, no add-ons. No add-ons on these 3 extra Raxes. It is a 3-base all-in, no gases here at the 3rd base either. The Terran is committing. The Terran is committing, and we are rushing into an Ultra Cavern. This is a little bit too greedy for Milky Cow. He needs as much Ling Bane as possible. So I meant to say it was greedy for GgMaChine. But he needs as much Ling Bane as possible. Milky Cow, he's committing to his all-in. He's rallying. And GgMaChine is in danger. He will get 1 tank. 1 tank goes down. Milky Cow is rallying. Oof, nice fungal. But is there a follow-up? Yeah, is there a follow-up? The Marines, they just stand their ground, they just tank the fungal. Going for the roaches, another tank volley goes up. And you can see that MilkyCow is breaking through. Yeah, he's breaking through. Breaks through the roaches, getting into the Ravagers. We have one Ultra on the way, let's go. Can he make it? Can he make it? The Queens are coming in to support. It's close. Clutch transfuse. Oof. Losing almost every single Ravager. One Ravager's left. The base is under fire. And MilkyCow is still going for the kill. Bearing in mind these Ultras, they won't have upgrades. They're going to have 1-1. Gets within range. Lands a bile. Ooh, gets a final tank. Barely gets the final tank. But he will lose every Roach Ravager in the process. Every single Roach Ravager. Another tank arrives. And the rally is just too much. The rally is too much. Yes, we have an Ultra, but remember the Ultra's lacking upgrades. The Ultra can be targeted down and is targeted down. The Ultra's made out of paper. Ah, no. And again, unfortunately, it was just lack of information, lack of scouting. Again, as we mentioned, this is a 3-base all-in out of the Terran. And GgMaChine just happened to be rushing into Ultra Tech. Wasn't quite worth it. Kindness plating is done in 10 more seconds. Okay. Can he survive? It's finishing up. Is kindness going to be enough? Oh. Chasing the army. Nice round. Okay. Nice round does force a pickup. We have a couple of infestors on the way. Now, we're in a really weird game state. Now, I do still favor MilkyCow. He did get a 3rd CC behind this, but all the tech is late, right? All the tech is delayed here. He doesn't have 2-2. He has +2 attack on the way, but no +2 defense. Bearing in mind, his gases are very late. His factory is very delayed. So the army here is very low quality, right? It's a very low quality army, Marine, Tank, Marauder, because the game was never meant to last this long. And you know what? GgMaChine, he has Ultras. And the upgrades are finishing up. He has kindness plating. He's now working on 3-3 upgrades as well. So because of this, GgMaChine is going to have a higher quality army than MilkyCow, but the supply is still heavily in favor of the Terran, as he has had the better economy. Right, he was able to kill a base. He was able to cripple the economy here of the Zerg. So GgMaChine, yes, he has upgrades. Yes, he has tech. Technically, the composition here should be better, but the economy isn't there to sustain it. That's what's killing GgMaChine here, is his lack of economy, as even though he survived, he still lost the expansion and still lost his drones. Nice catch, gets a full medevac. Okay, nice start. Now, if given time, GgMaChine will outscale the Terran, only if given time. Like, drop play can excel here, but we see some of the drops are denied. Army does stem in. Nice fungal. Okay, very nice fungal. Just expansion. Hatchery goes down. Ghost production has begun. Ooh, is there only one eBay? There's 2. We're forgetting +2. Ah, MilkyCow, he's a Byun fan. He's forgetting +2 armor. I mean, I say forgetting, he doesn't really have the money for it, but the upgrades are lopsided. GgMaChine, he's catching up in supply. Oh, she's a hit the southern base. Can he bring down the planetary? Oh no, the infestor. Oof. Infestor goes down. Planetary does survive. That was an expensive loss here for GgMaChine. Going for the gold. This gold base should never get up and running, but I mean, he's going for it. Does cause a distraction. Hopefully it does cancel in time. I say that we have some ultras to defend, but here come the snipes. Oh. Yeah, snipes pop off. Mind shots as well, getting 1, getting 2 ultras. Oh my god. Does barely hold on to the expansion. It's on 27 HP. Saves it, just barely. Meanwhile, sorry, GgMaChine is out of position. Another hatchery is going to go down. Just one Marauder. One Marauder needs to drop in. Oh, nice fungal, catching up both ghosts. Ghosts are going down the Powerbomb combo as well. Okay. GgMaChine. Okay, nice moves. Again, crucial. Saving the space is huge. Like, he has such a better economy now. This entire time he's been stuck on 3 bases. Now he has a 4th base and there's a goal base at that. That does help him recover. Again, the space, this should not have happened. And there we go. Finally, it is denied. GgMaChine desperately needs a 4th expansion. He needs a 4th base. And this is where, if you remember at the very start of this game, we spoke about how spread thin you are defending, right? The bases are very spread out on Taito, and now this is affecting GgMaChine. Oh no! Drones, they rally into their deaths. And that's going to be what? 20 drones going down. Massive pickup. Takes down 20 workers. Desperation here, going for a massive counterattack. Does catch some Marines. Maybe a ghost. Nah, not even. Get some SCVs at least. But if you recall, earlier we spoke about how, if given time, GgMaChine could outscale, and he did get into Infestors, Vipers, Ultras. Like, he has been taking some very impressive fights, but despite that, this entire time, he never retook his 4th. The 4th base has never been taken. We do see instead Milky taking the gold base himself. There's just no economy here. These Lings, they got more damage than they should have, true. But Milky still up on 60 SCVs plus mules. He just needs a 4th. He needs a 4th base back. He needs money. Uh-oh. As now he's aware of the gold. The pressure is now on the Zerg player. Cannot let this get up and running. Planetary will finish. And Liberation has arrived. That's a lot of Liberators. There's no good answer to this, not yet. Milky Cow can go for the kill. Decent fungals. Fungals, they catch up the Marauders. Snipe's gonna be popping off. Fungal not goes. Oh my god! Very nice fungals catching on almost every single ghost. This is the best fight that GgMaChine could hope for. Catching out the ghosts, the Marauders, rushing on in. But the Ultras are so low, and the Planetary will kill 4 or 5 of them. Oh my god. And again, that was the best fight that GgMaChine could hope for, but it still was not enough. It just comes down to the economy. It comes down to the all-in from earlier. Remember, once that 4th base went down for the first time, it just never got back up. GG, and Milky Cow will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Milky Cow. Again, he committed into his 3-base all-in, and we saw that GgMaChine was just being a little bit too greedy as a response. If you recall, I mean, it did start with the initial Roach push and the Roach rush into what? Into a fast infestation pit, into fast hive, into fast ultras. And you saw that even though the ultras allowed GgMaChine to survive and to elongate that game, it did not allow him to defend against the 8 racks and to defend his 4th base. The 4th base still went down, he still could not defend, and he could not maintain an economy. GG, well played. At the end, that is what it came down to. But congratulations to Milky Cow, as he will advance on, and now we can finally catch up on the bracket. What's happening? What's been going on? Let's go. Let us go here. Whew, as we already have a semi-finalist. That's how long our series was, by the way. Everyone else has just been playing and progressing. That's how intense our series was. I mean, we did luck out with our first match, of course, but congratulations. Milky Cow is now going to be going up against Classic in the quarterfinals. Let's go. Classic, of course, did just take down the Mega. Papi, the Mega. Good to see you, Papi. Good to see you. The Mega, of course, a long time friend of the channel, of course. Big long time friend, the Mega. Good to see him competing again after so long. Did face off against Classic in the first round, which was brutal, but regardless, GG, well played. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have Percival. Percival gets a walkover over a triple. Percival takes down Cristiano 2-0. Percival gets his revenge. If you remember, Percival did struggle previously. I want to say he faced off against against Cristiano. But congratulations, Percival. He's already in the upper semifinals. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have Trigger. Trigger takes down Perceive. Meanwhile, Nickrat takes down Ducklings, and we have Nickrat versus Trigger in the next round. I was very tempted. I had two options in for the first cast, for the first series. I was either going to jump into Milky Cow versus GgMaChine or Nickrat versus Ledlix. They were both very high-profile first-round matches, and they led into really exciting second-round matches as well. In the end, we settled on GgMaChine and Milky Cow just so we could have some Zerg for the broadcast. You know us here. You know that the reality, unfortunately, we don't really get a lot of Zergs in tournaments, so whenever we see one, we cover them while we can, because fun fact, 0 Zerg players left. It's just purely Protoss and Terran. But that's the normal when it comes to online tournaments. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But at least we got some Zerg today. At least we got some Zerg. It's more than what we usually get, to be honest. It's going down. So Trigger's up against Nickrat. It's going down a little bit further. We have SKillous. SKillous takes down Ragnar. Geralt takes down Hacker's Tub. And we have SKillous versus Geralt in the quarterfinals. So we have Classic, Milky Cow, Percival, Trigger, Nickrat, SKillous, and Geralt. Let's go. Let us go. We have our remaining players, and of course we're going to be following Milky Cow into Classic, and we'll be following that into Percival. So we have the rest of our matches lined up for us. Got them lined up. Just setting up our players. If you recall, I believe this is a rematch from, did they face off in StarCraft Evolution? In SEL? Could be mistaking Classic for Solar. Yeah, it was Solar versus Milky Cow, yeah. Oh. What are the rules this week? Let's go. Let us go. We're getting to the next series. We're getting to our next matchup. Here we go to load into our best of three quarterfinals match between Classic and Milky Cow. Let's go. Our Vitas are done. Game one. Hey, we're loading back into Title Citadel. Why am I always Classic? Oh no, STD Mega. Much love, Pappy, much love. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the red Terran player, himself, representing 3D Clan. It is Milky Cow. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss player, the South Green Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Going for the proxy. Let's go. The probe is sent out immediately to set up the panel, to set up the gateway across the map. We are going to be cheesing here to start off the series. Classic has been patient. You know, he's been patiently waiting for like half an hour. He's like, Pappy, what's taking them so long? Oh my god. So he's got places to be, Pappy. He has to face off against Percival, of course. And here we go. We have 2 gateways being thrown down. Remember, no gases, oh, never mind. Spoke too soon. Gas is now on the way. Otherwise, we could have committed into extra gateways. But for now, 2-gate opener or 2-gate, proxy 2-gate out of Classic. And Milky Cow is going for a double gas opener himself. Thankfully, double gas, faster factory, delayed CC. We have a safer start out of Milky Cow. But it still comes down to his reaction. It still comes down to his response. Let's go. Also, if you're in the chat, so very quickly, it's Gamba time. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our best of 3. Just catching up in the chat. Catching up. GgMaChine looks like a Protoss, great tech units, but can't manage to rotate to defend bases because units are so. Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, even if he could rotate in time, like, it was just a really well positioned just because of, as we mentioned, lack of economy there for GgMaChine. But for now, we're getting into our next series here. The Zealots have arrived, they will zone away, and they would hope to delay the CC. Going a little bit further in, going Reacted Reaper Hellion. Okay, opening up Reacted Reaper. Classic is hoping to force a cancel. For now, he does delay. Stalkers move in. Oof. Bit of a misclick there towards the end, but he does actually get into the main. Yeah, the depot wall is open. Boys are being pulled. And Milky can he surround? Surrounds the Zealots at least. It does get on top of the Zealots, but SCVs are going to be falling. Losing 4, losing almost 5 SCVs. Hellion goes down. More Stalkers rallying in, and Classic is really snowballing out of control. He's getting so much damage here. As we have a Widowmine that's halfway done. But the army cannot fight. The army cannot fight head on. Not like this. The depot is going to go down. Again, breaks into the main. KDA charge helps Classic. There's a cancellation on the CC. CC gets cancelled. Can we bait out the Maisha with the attempt? Oh my god. Does force Jumbo. Oh no, he commits. Oof. Yeah, big overextension. 2 Stalkers go down. A value mine shot, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Gets another Stalker, bit of miscontrol there by Classic. Yeah, a bit of miscontrol, but again, he's still trading well. Master Repair is not good enough. GG gets called, and Classic takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. He will take lead in the series. And Classic going for a hyper-aggressive build, going for his Proxy 2-gate, Proxy Zealot into Proxy Stalker. Meanwhile, Milky Cow back at home did go for a bit of a safer start, but unfortunately did lose a lot of SCVs in the defense, lost his first Hellion as well, and could not maintain control of his high grounds. GG. GG. But here we go. Here we go. We're getting into game 2. Game 2 is going to be on the Old Republic. Oh boy. Going to be loading into another one of these larger maps. And we'll see if the aggression continues here. Oh boy. Meanwhile, we have some other updates as well. Trigger just took down Nickrat 2-1. Trigger's also waiting in the semifinals. When it comes to which semifinals we will begin with, it's whoever is ready first. Whoever is ready first, whether it's lower or upper semis. But both will be casted. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the red Terran player down in the series. Can he bounce back, and can he force the ace match? The pressure is on. It is Milky Cow. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Green Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss, the Rotus Pro. It is a Classic. Go. As we find ourselves in game number 2. This time the pylon is back at home. This time the gateway is back at home. No proxies, no shenanigans out of Classic. He's got it out of his system. Now it's time to calm down and settle into the Old Republic, to settle into our game. Initially we have Classic scouting. He will check the natural. He will check the third base location as well, checking for proxies, making sure that everything is as it should be. We can see, of course, Milky Cow going for his racks at home and opening up double gas once again. So double gas opener, once again going for the faster factory, going for a potentially even a Reacted Reaper Hellion opener. Otherwise, could go into faster Cyclones, faster drop play. We'll keep an eye on the Terran. So now we are going to be settling in. Milky Cow, we'll see if he even gets a CC on the high ground just in case. We'll see how scarred he is, as he doesn't go for an SCV scout and no Reaper scout either. Okay, bold move out of Milky Cow, going Marine first. Marine first, 0 scouting. And are we going for the swap? The answer is no. Okay. So we do have the same opener. Now Milky Cow can expand. So Reactor Reaper Hellion, this is a little bit more committed here. The goal and the role of Reaper Hellion is to get economic damage done early on, to bust into a mineral line and to wreak havoc. As of course these units don't really scale too well in a longer game. We're going for a Hellion drop actually. The SCV moves out for a proxy starport. So cheeky move here by Milky Cow. We did mention earlier that the goal here is for economic damage, and we're going to try to confirm that with the proxy starport into proxy medevacs. As Classic is zoned away. There's that proxy starport. As we mentioned, the goal should be to drop the Hellions into the main base, and for the Reapers to wreak havoc in the natural, or even support in the main. Oh! As one Stalker goes down, nice punish. Has to be careful. Oh my god. Oh, as he will lose one of the Hellions, that will slow down Milky Cow. Does take down both Stalkers, but again, this army is now that much weaker, and the drop is going to be that much weaker as well. How many Hellions? One? Wait. Hold on. He's not making additional Hellions behind this, so we're going Proxy Liberator instead. There's not much to drop in. Getting into the natural. Going for another Stalker. No safety shield battery. Oh, nice round. Very clutched around towards the end. Yeah, Proxy Lib. So Proxy Liberator. As soon as he saw that there were no additional Hellions on the way, it did scream Liberator instead of Medevac. But this is still hyper aggressive here by Milky Cow. To the point where he may even pull some boys. This is looking quite committed. Tanks are slowly building up. Classic does expand. Off of 3 gates, I believe. Yep. 3-gate blink. Goes down his rover. Gets into his third base. So the probe will actually check. We'll confirm. We'll get eyes on the starport. Ay, ay, ay. Classic. He sees all. He knows all. Warping back at home. This Liberator's going to have a very hard time finding damage. Does make its way in. And yeah, we do pull a couple of boys. As we mentioned, seeing the fact that we went into tank production so quickly and we went Liberator and not Medevac tells us that we are going to commit here on 2 bases. So a couple of boys are being pulled, rallying everything across the map. The starport does land once again, going for Viking support. Remember, landed Vikings actually trade quite well against gateway units. Landed Vikings can pop off. And it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. The Olin gets spotted. Classic is aware. He will try to slow this down. Blink is done. Oh. Yeah, Blink is ready. Does get a Marine. The Medevac, sorry, the tank, I'm going to say, the tank does go down. Massive pickoff. Gets 1 tank. There's 1 tank left. That's the backbone of this army. Does force a siege. 1 more volley. Oh my god. Yeah, brings out both tanks. Massive pickoffs. Both tanks go down. The Immortal's on the way. There's 1 Liberator left. And he gets it. Oh my god. And there's not really much here. There's vanilla Marines and 1 Viking. Without tanks and without the Liberator, there's nothing really to keep pushing. The Immortal does pull away. Marines, they're just being picked away. GG gets called, and Classic, he will survive the all-in. He will take the series 2-0. He'll advance on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations, Classic. He will claim the series. He will advance on to the next round. GG. My condolences to Milky Cow. Sorry, again, Milky Cow, he did commit into a 2-base all-in, but he got scouted. He got scouted. He was seen in the center. His starport was seen earlier as well. So as Classic, he was able to keep up, able to shut down, able to defend. And again, as soon as we saw the first tank full, that was almost game then and there. Like, losing tanks that quickly, that early on is brutal. And he just couldn't really get his all-in going, couldn't get within range of the bases, of the production, of anything. GG. GG, well played. With that, exclamation mark be in the chat. What's going on? Let's find out. Here we go. Okay. We have the upper semifinals ready for us. Oh boy, we have Classic. Classic takes down Milky Cow 2-0. Percival took down Christiana 2-0 as well. And we have Classic versus Percival over on the Korean server in the upper semifinals. Our semifinalists are ready for us. Meanwhile, we have Trigger patiently waiting for his next opponent. Is it going to be SKillous or Geralt? Yet to be confirmed. But we have a Protoss player confirmed for the finals. Trigger, SKillous, Geralt. We have a Protoss confirmed. Whether it's a Terran or Protoss to meet them, we're about to find out. We're about to find out here. Can we avoid the non-stop PvPs? We'll try. We'll try. Classic, of course, is the favorite player in the event. He's the highest rated player. He's the favorite. I mean, if you remember, he was the favorite in last week's Tuna Cup in the November monthly finals, and Classic went down in the first round. Who knocked him down? Cristiano. I kind of wanted to see the rematch. I would have loved to have seen a rematch to see if Cristiano could do it again. But again, for those who weren't here last week, Cristiano did 2-0 Classic. He did 2-0 Classic last week. That is Cristiano. He's the player that knocked him down. But this week, they don't face off. This week, I'm sure Classic is happy about that. He's like, whew, thank God, Percival. Like, it's like, ah, yeah, my young, baby, my young. Knock Cristiano out, so doesn't have to worry about that rematch. He can avoid Cristiano and continue to be the favorite player here in the event. But otherwise, we are going to be going on a very short break. Going to be going for a very short break here. When we come back, we'll have Classic and Percival facing off in those semis. We'll see you soon. Take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and hydrate all of your hydras. We'll be back soon with Classic and Percival. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the semi-finals of the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 114. That's a lot of weeks, Pappy. That's a lot of tunas. And we have our first semi-finals here. We have our top 4 facing off and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have one of the best players, one of the best Protoss players in the world, representing Protoss Pro. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the red Terran player. With the red Terran player himself, it is Percival. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our PVT. And Percival moves out early on for the eBay block, but alas, he will not be spotted, just barely. He does hug the edge of the map. He does avoid the probe scout, and he will come in with the eBay block. Not bad. Not bad whatsoever. With this, a Classic will be forced to expand at the unnatural naturals, so a really rough start here for Classic, and Percival can react with something more aggressive. Getting into this, of course, again, Classic, he's one of the best Protoss players in the world. He is the highest rated player and the favorite to win the entire tournament. But if you remember, last week during the Tuna Cup, during the monthly November finals, Classic did actually lose in the first round to Cristiano. It was a crazy result, a crazy upset. Again, I highly recommend the VOD. I highly recommend tuning into the VODs of last week's tournaments, because every Korean went down in the first round. It was crazy. Percival got knocked out in the quarterfinals. Classic got knocked out in the quarterfinals. Nightmare got knocked out. Beyond got knocked out. It was an all EU tournament. It was crazy. No, without trying to have like Korea versus EU throughout the entire events, but yeah, EU was looking good last week, but this time Korea gets its revenge. We have Percival and Classic facing off. We have a Korean confirmed for the finals, which will make it through. We're here to find out. Already we see Classic expanding here at the linear location, a much more exposed base here for Classic. Much more exposed, and Percival, he can punish this. He can try to punish. Reaper moves out. Classic is going to be spread thin. Behind this, Percival expanding on the high ground, going for a CC here in his main, playing safe. He's playing this out safe. When it comes to Percival, of course, Percival, he has been rising in strength and rising in skill quite quickly and quite consistently throughout the course of 2025. I would say that he is the rising star of this year. Shameless was the rising star for 2024, but for 2025, at Percival, he has just achieved so much in such a short period of time. It's been crazy to see his growth over the course of the last 12 months. to the point where he can take it to players like Classic. I would not say he's favored. I would not go that far, of course, but I would say that he can take maps and he can take series on a good day. For now, Twilight Council. Twilight Council opener out of Classic, headed towards Blink. Stalkers, they poke in, they deny the bunker. Uh-oh, yeah, bunker is denied. Marines are going down, boys are being pulled, things are getting desperate. Yeah, chaotic defense here by Percival as he will lose more CVs. There's a cancellation. Widowmine does borrow, but we just ignore the mine. Nice control, shuffling back his units. Oh, this is gonna get a hit. 5, 6 SCVs, 0 mining at the natural. Reaper tried to harass, but last back at home, there's a shield battery. In the end, the Classic does defend. And this is too much. Oh my god. Again, just 2 Stalkers, Pappy, and unfortunately the bunker was too late, the Widowmine was too delayed. And yeah, Percival just cannot mine. Just cannot mine until his Cyclone arrives. Moves down to the low ground, okay. Just chase down the Stalker. Nicely done. Nice control there by Percival. Locks down one of the Stalkers and finally can go back to mining. Can go back in. But still a very messy start here for Percival. Yes, he did force the awkward expansion, but in the follow-up, he lost 6 SCVs. I was going for the drop. Classic rushing into a very fast third base. It is going to be 3 gates. So 3 gate blink into the third. Medevac gets spotted. Boost is on cooldown. Does he get it? Oh, barely not. Whew. Barely does get away. Widowmine shot goes off, no reaction. Classic. He's being pulled apart. 8 probe kills. 8 probes go down, but the Stalkers, they shut down the drop. That medevac did actually fall, so back and forth. On the one hand, Classic, he will lose a lot of workers. At the same time, though, Percival, he lost the medevac, he lost the Cyclone, he lost his Marines. So Widowmine is still out there. Classic is moving out. We'll see when and if the Widowmine does Widow back in. Remember, Blink is done. Chipping away at the bunker. Boys are late to be pulled. Getting 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 3 SCVs. Bunker does full. Nice tank shot. Nice tank volleys. Percival, he's holding on. Widowmine doesn't get into the mineral line. Doesn't get in this time. But it's been a very intense game. It's been very intense, very back and forth. Initially, Percival, he lost 6 SCVs. At the same time, he killed 8 probes. Had that back and forth. Yo, meanwhile, big shout out to Swaguts in the chat, papi. Swaguts. Thanks so much for subscribing for how many? For also 8 months. Ah, there you go. Also 8 months in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the content, the casting, and the StarCraft. Thank you so much. As we're kind of nearing the end of the broadcast, we're in the semis. Bearing in mind we have both semifinals yet to cover and the grand finals as well. So 3 series left. As the game is slowing down, by calming things down, Classic, he's taking his third base, he's taking his gateways, Forge on the way for +1, and more importantly, Colossus production, not Storm. He's opening up Colossi. At the same time, Percival is getting his third TC, so we're building up into a longer game state. No all-ins, no 2-base play. Up! Seems to ever get sniped. Sorry, sniped. Despite the fact that we are building up towards the mid game, we do still see that Percival is going for drop play. He's hunting for damage. Trying to catch out the Stalkers. We can see the Classic does only leave 1 in position. So Classic is zoned away. And again, Percival, he fails to catch the Stalkers. They were already back home. Now, when it comes to Winter Madness, we spoke about this previously. This is probably the most defensive map in the map pool and the best map to try to build up on 3 and 4 bases. But Percival, he's actually moving out. He's getting caught on siege. Yeah, tanks laid to siege. One tank goes down easily. He gets one. He gets both tanks. Both tanks are down. Mine shots, they do pop off. Oh my god. Decent connections, but alas, Percival, he will lose everything here. Marauders are locked down. Better engage here for Classic. Percival caught with his pants down. And he barely escapes with anything left. He has 3 medevacs, a couple of Marines. Again, unfortunately, he was just caught unsieged. He got maybe 1 tank shot off. Just 1. And with that, he will lose the 3rd. He'll lose control of his 3rd base. We're just rallying across the map. Classic is going for the kill. Oh my god. Yeah, blinks forward. Zealots have arrived. GG gets caught, and Classic will overwhelm the 3rd base. He will take a lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We'll take a lead here. Again, Percival, he had a couple of options to him. He did commit to a move out, did commit to a push. Thankfully, if you remember, he did kill the Observer previously. So he killed the Observer, he zoned away the Stalker. He was able to minimize vision from Classic, but he was still caught out nonetheless, losing both tanks, one without getting a shot off, the other got maybe 1 shot off, if that. He's caught with his pants down. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're now getting into game number 2. We're loading into Ruby Rock. We go from one of the larger, more defensive maps in the map pool to one of the smaller, more aggressive maps instead. Let's go. This is where something like 2-base all-ins are more viable. They're a lot more viable here, so we could see Percival be a lot more aggressive and to try to gain momentum and try to bring it back. Let's go. Let us go. ¿Dónde están los pantalones, papi? No. Se fueron, papi. Se fueron. ¿Dónde están? As spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have our South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Virtus Pro, leading the series 1-0. It is a Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. The pressure is on. It is Percival. Go. Seems that even things up a little bit, but losing the medevac, the medevac dying is oof. Yeah. It was one of those things where Percival, he was able to get 8 probe kills, which was nice, but he still lost the medevac. He still lost the Cyclone. It was a very chaotic early game in game number 1, and in the end, Classic was able to establish himself on 3 bases and, of course, catch the army. But now we're getting into game 2. Once again, welcome to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock does have a more open 3rd and more open 4th expansion as well. So, as we mentioned before, the Russian background is shorter on this map compared to Winter Madness. If the Terran player wanted to be more active and aggressive and chaotic on 2 bases, it is a much more viable option here on Ruby Rock. So, eyes are on Percival. For now, we can see Percival going for a single gas opener, going for a Rax expand, a faster CC. It's going to be a little bit off-center, but he can always lift, always land. A much greedier build this time from the Terran. This also tells Classic no, of course, of the early CC timing. He knows he is safe early on, and he can also start to cut some corners. Now, just because the opener is more economic doesn't mean that we're going into a longer macro game. Not at all. Just an economic start can still lead to an aggressive follow-up. Now the Reaper does move out. It is going to be a Twilight Counter opener at a Classic. I should say, can still lead into an aggressive mid-game is maybe a better way of putting it. As this time we have a much earlier bunker. If you recall, last game was a later bunker, a later defensive setup, and he was punished for it. That's one of the reasons why 6 SCVs went down, but this time he is ready. Bunker is done. The Adept can shade behind the mineral line. Gets in and oh, doesn't quite get an SCV. Nice body blocking. Getting 1 Marine. Ooh, just the 1. So nice defense here by Percival. He defends, he deflects, and behind this going for his own 1-1-1. You can see he's not making any Reapers. He is going into Marine production, so there's no reacted Reaper Hellion. The Hellions are here, but they should just be for scouting. Just a scout. Likewise, we'll keep an eye on the gateway count. That is the second gateway on the way for a classic. Currently 2-gate blink, playing a safe, going for the robo on 2 bases as well. It is not uncommon to see a Protoss player, delay their robo, go for a faster third base, but that's typically done on larger maps. Would be crazy to do here. Would be crazy. As we're going for the early drop. Okay, I was curious. Going for the medevac, moving out early on. We have some light Hellion Reaper aggression towards one side, and we have the Marine drop on the other. Let's go. So bring it all together. Classic does expand, I believe, on 2. Yeah, on 2 gateways. So 2-gate opener into a faster third base. Classic is cutting corners. Being a little bit greedier this time. Go, Hellions towards the natural. Marine drop into the main base. Can he get into the mineral line? He's going for it. He's going for the dive. Up! Probes line up for a moment. He gets 2. 2 probes go down. Oof. He's going to be zoned away, though. He's going to be forced out at the same time. Marines, they drop into the main base. Going for the Autosis pylon. Can he get the pylon? Oh, not quite. Classic, he defends. 3 probes go down. Hellions, oh my god, they get back in. They're lighting up. Probes are lighting up. 10 probe kills, 12 probes. GG gets called critical damage, and Percival, he will tap the series 1-1. GG. Ay, ay, ay. GG, well played. Remember, it takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a worker. Towards the end, there were only 2 Hellions left, but there were 2-shotting. Workers were lining up. Classic, he was caught with his pants down, was pulled apart, and that's game. That is game then and there. Bearing in mind that, remember, Classic was also cutting corners. He went for 1 less gateway, and he went for an earlier third. That meant he had less stalkers, he had less gateway units on the ground, so a bit of a more difficult defense there for Classic. Could have still reacted and pulled and split his workers, but he was otherwise distracted by the main base. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're going to game 3. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the South Green Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Protoss Pro, being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Terran player, the South Korean Terran. Momentum is on his side. Just look at the game. Can he take 2 in a row? It is Percival. Here we go. And again, that wasn't meant to end the game. The game was meant to continue from there, but that many losses that early on is a game-ending damage. We talk about this all the time, but when it comes to early damage, you don't really have many workers to begin with. So to lose 12 plus probes at the beginning of the game, that is brutal damage. One more mistake, one small misstep, and you can end the game here. Whether it's Hellion harass, whether it's Water Mine drops as well. Isn't meant to, but has potential to deal critical damage. And we'll see if we can recover. Pros can't take damage early, not like that. I mean, I would say that's applicable to Terran and Zerg as well. Like, if you're losing 12 workers that early on, I mean, that is kind of game-winning damage here for both Protoss, Terran, and Zerg, all 3 races. Bearing in mind that there was still like some more Hellion shots available as well. But here we go. Once again, we do see Classic force the base a little bit off center. Does force it off center. So a nice little win here for Classic. Hello. Okay, just scanning. I was like, what's going on? Just taking the goal base before moving out as we settle in. No shenanigans, man. and welcome to Title Citadel. Title Citadel is a larger map of the map pool, but as we mentioned in the GgMaChine series, it is a very wide, a very spread out map. The bases themselves are very spread out, so trying to be a defending player and trying to keep up with aggressive rotations at your third, your fourth, your fifth base can be very difficult here on Title, but that's more applicable to the mid game. Is more applicable to the mid game, and we haven't gotten there yet. So far, to be honest, these two games have been quite fast. We have yet to embrace a 3-base economy, not properly, not yet. We'll see if we get there this time. Percival's getting into a zone 1-1-1. If you recall, last game it was Reacted Marine Hellion. This time Reacted Marine Woodermine Drop. So Woodermine Drop opener here out of Percival. It is less committed. It has potential for damage, of course, but Classic should be able to keep up. Should be able to react. Let's see, Woodermines are amassing. And the drop will soon be on the way. Once again, I believe 2-gate. Yep, so 2-gate blink into a third base. You can see that Classic's actually being greedier this time. Last game, he went for a robo before expanding. This time, it's going to be an expansion before the robo. So, again, Classic, this is the greediest build you can really go for. Viably so. 2-gate into a third. So 2-gate blink into third base. Classic is cutting corners. This means that Immortal production is going to be more delayed, Observers are delayed, Stalker count is going to be lower. It does mean that he is vulnerable to a 2-base all-in, and we'll see if Percival does go for one. Now we have a Mind Drop. Classic does react. Classic pulls away. Catching on the medevac. Nice catch. Medevac goes down, and the Woodermines, there's no way out. There's no way out. They're going to get maybe one probe. Oh, blinks in, gets a Stalker. Not bad. Takes down one of the Stalkers. There's still one Mind Shot left. Oh, Jesus. Calm down. Calm down. Okay, one Stalker goes down, and we do get the cleanup here. I would say a slightly better trade for, better trade for Classic. Did lose a Stalker, but he killed the medevac, if you recall. He did kill the medevac. Oh, shout out to the Moopies. Beautiful. So Classic defends well. And behind this, we do see Percival going into early stim. So stim is halfway done. Because we're prioritizing stim so heavily here, and we didn't go for, say, like a Raven, oh, my apologies. We didn't go for like a Raven follow-up or a Banshee follow-up. Really early stim, heavy Marine production here. We are not going for a 2-base all-in. Third CC is on the way. Okay, going for a third base. With early stim, though, that does mean that it's going to give a little bit more power here to this drop. So the drop play to the Marines, to the buyer. He doesn't wait for stim, though. He's going in. Quick reaction. Classic, he reacts well. Lose one probe. Oh. There's just the one. Medevac taking a lot of damage. Yeah, barely does not get away. Medevac goes down. And it's going to be a dead drop here. He does go for the workers. 5 probes go down. Does get some value for this. Gets 5 probes. Get some value, get some damage. And from here, we're building up. Classic is yet to invest into any splash damage, going for charge first. Charge +1, Mass Gateway Army. A lot of people still playing this with their hands, Pappy, with their hands. It's crazy. Ooh, and this is what is dangerous about Title Citadel. I was going to bring this up, but if the game slows down and if we get into a longer macro game, the problem here with certain maps is that we have maps with high yield gas geysers or high yield mineral patches, so whoever has map control will have a greater advantage here. So Classic has map control, taking his 4th base, rushing into the gold, and Percival is going to be, or should be, stuck at home. Say that, going for his move out. Runs into the Zealot army. It's on Classic to slow this down. Go base is spotted. He's aware. So quite a nice setup here by Percival. It kites back, shuts down the Zealots. Percival does hold. He's holding on. We have more Zealots on the way. Classic trying to commit in. But again, he doesn't quite have the army for this. Bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. Yeah, Stalkers going down. Zealots being bleeding off as well. And a much better engage here for the Terran. You can see Classic plummet in supply. And sure, he's getting his goal, but it's not up and running yet. Doesn't have his goal base. Percival has momentum. Classic is in trouble. And Percival is headed for the gold. He's headed for the gold expansion. Oh. Lose the medevac. We got the backstab. Oh no! Oh my god, we had the backstab coming in, but Percival, he defends back at home. He attacks across the map, and Classic, he is in so much trouble here. He's trying to buy some time. Percival, he just wants the fourth, and he should get it. He should get it. And again, there's no danger of a backstab, of a counterattack. Zealots they trickle in. Tanks are sieged. And Stalkers they get punished. Yeah, Stalkers will be punished here. Ay, ay, ay. You can see he's trying to force friendly fire. Okay, Zealots take him in from behind. Let's go. Comes in from behind, does catch every single tank. Better engage towards the end. And Percival, he has to make a choice. Either reinforce his position or counterattack. He's going for the backstab. He's going for the backstab instead. He's going straight for the natural. There should be a recoil for Classic. As he's going for the natural base. Vikings can land. There's a recoil. Yeah, there's a recoil back home. Oh no! Yeah, the Immortal is going to be thrown away. Immortal goes down. Classic barely trying to hold on, but again, he's just being pulled apart because of what? Recoils on cooldown. Recoils on cooldown. We rally back towards the fourth base, and the force should not survive. Should not survive. Just too much momentum in favor of Percival. Too much momentum. Too much going his way. The base will go down. Catching at the observers. And last week it was Christiana that knocked down Classic. This time it's going to be Percival. Oh no. Knocks down the expansion. It's all or nothing with Classic trying to catch up the army. Coming in for the surround. Run into Mage also. Yeah, wouldn't mind they pop off. Reinforcements on the way. Classic cannot afford these losses. Again, he's stuck on 3 bases. Classic, he has the worst economy. He's down in economy, down in army, down in every aspect. GG gets called, and Percival, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Congratulations to Percival as he does claim the series. He will stop the PvP finals from becoming a reality. So very impressive play there. Again, winding it back. Classic, he took the go base, he had map control, but he was so committed to that first push, that first move out, and he took a very rough fight. I'm referring to the fight outside of the third base within range of 3 tanks and was it 3 Widowmines as well. Percival, he had the high ground, took a very nice fight, and right after that, killed the War Prism. He killed the War Prism. There was no backstab. There was nothing threatening Percival. He was free to push, and Classic, he lost then and there. He could not defend his bases, could not maintain his fourth base, his natural, split apart. GG. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, we have our first finalist. We do have Percival. Percival does advance on to the finals, and the question becomes, who will face off against him? It is going to be a Protoss opponent, but will it be Trigger, or will it be a European Protoss? Let's go. Let us go. Let us find out. Exclamation mark. Be in the chat. Have a look at the back yourselves. As we have the lower semifinals, SKillous Nikita, he took down Geralt 2-1. And we have SKillous versus Trigger in the lower semis. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Trigger and SKillous. So we're getting into our PvP. Just need one momento to set up our players, and it's great to see Trigger once again. SKillous has been more active in recent times. If you recall, SKillous, he was actually last month's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion, as he did win the November finals. But Trigger, he's been a little bit more MIA. Trigger, he is of course living in South Korea. Is in South Korea. And has been streaming as of late, has been competing in other events, of course. Did, I believe, recently return from the States as he was competing in Stellarfest alongside Stellarfest. But did recently return. He was also competing in SE for All as well. True. So it's in the Americas for the LAN events. But now he's back. That one War Prism dying really made that much more harder for a Classic. Yeah, for sure. Like trying to force reinforcements back at home and delaying the push and deterring the Terran from moving out. Like it's a big factor that was taken away. On top of that, bearing in mind that Classic did take a worse fight before that. I was putting a lot of emphasis on the engage from Classic when he was trying to push up that ramp, and when he took a really rough fight, bleeding out Stalkers, bleeding out Zealots. So it was just too much wrong happening there too quickly, with worse fights and with the dead War Prism. But GG. With that, I think we're going to be going on a short break. It looks like our players, they need a moment. They need a little bit of time here. So when we come back, we'll have the lower semis. We'll have SKillous and Trigger after the break. Take this time, get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain those disruptors, massage all those Marines. We'll see you soon for the PvP. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the semifinals of Sparkling Tuna Cup number 114. We just wrapped up with the upper semifinals. Percival just took down Classic 2-1. I would say an upset there. I did mention previously that Percival has it in him to take maps and to take a series. That is true, but he was still the underdog in that match. So very impressive play there by Percival. He's in the finals, and he's waiting for one of these two players. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the teal Protoss for Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our PvP. Oh boy, I'm ready. I am excited as we have our first game here on Winter Madness. Welcome to one of the larger, more defensive maps in the map pool. Much larger, much more defensive. Despite that, because of the nature of PvP, the size of the map doesn't really help too much. You can still be hyper aggressive. You can still cheese just because of the warping mechanic. You can still be in the face of your opponents. For now though, 2-gate. 2-gate opener out of SKillous, 2-gate opener out of Trigger. Probes are moving out, and we'll see if any of them veer off. Oh. Speaking of, as we say that, Trigger, he does veer off towards the left-hand side, but looks like he's still going for this. He's still going for the scout. Still going for the scout. We have a much more direct scout here from SKillous. Borrow those lurkers. Ah, no. There's no alliteration, Pappy. No alliteration. Ah. But yes, look after them, Pappy. Look after them. As SKillous scouts, he does check, does confirm the second pylon. So he does get eyes on that second pylon. Trigger likewise also will check the main base and should also get eyes on the second pylon of SKillous, confirming no proxy. No proxy, no early game shenanigans. Trigger doesn't actually go fully into the main. Oh, as he gets locked in. Okay. He gets locked in. He at least scouted the probe scout, of course, and he sees the second worker moving down to low ground. I've seen enough. And even if he didn't see the gas, he would have seen the... Yeah, no. He just confirms. Yeah, it does confirm. Gets eyes on the pylon. Nice block out of SKillous, delaying the expansion. His own is already on the way. So SKillous has a slight lead here. He will kill a probe, and he will have the faster nexus. So SKillous does have that slight advantage. Imagine being a lurker on stream. True, true. Está. A lurker who arrives first. Meanwhile, we have our take of choice. So again, slight edge here for SKillous. We do have a faster Robo as our take of choice. Okay, so Robo opener here out of SKillous. With this, we can get into earlier observers, early detection, early immortal production as well. It is going to be a later Twilight Council as a result. So this should be a more defensive setup here, and it can lead into an all-in later on, depending on the immortal count. You know what, Trigger, he does move out. Nice hallucinations, trying to bait out some shots. Does tank. Yeah, tanks a good amount of volleys, but with the shield battery, he cannot break through. Yeah, the shield battery is up. SKillous will defend. SKillous will hold his own. I say that, I mean, the Stalkers they still have a pretty healthy HP pool here, going for the shield battery. Not bad. Force field goes down, the shield battery does barely survive. SKillous is holding, he's trying to at least. He needs more time for the immortal. Does get one of the sentries. Leaves out a Stalker. Second sentry goes down. Can he get another? Can he get three? Oh, barely not. Yeah, barely not. SKillous, he will hold on. It was a bit of a costly defense here. It did cost him 2 sentries, but does survive. Does survive. Now Trigger, he's aware. He's aware of the Robo. Aware of the Immortals. Blink is on the way. That's a massive gateway explosion. 4 more gates in production, going up to 6. That's a lot of gateways. SKillous does pull back. Pulls back in time, saves the Immortal. Trigger's getting ready to expand. He wants the Immortal though. Nice snipe. Gets one. Bearing in mind this is a 2-base all-in, by the way. Like, this is a 2-base all-in out of SKillous, but to lose 1 Immortal already, that does take a little wind out of the sails of the Red Protoss. So massive win for Trigger. Speaking of, Trigger's a shields. He wants that Immortal. He wants it. Oh my god. Does get some hull damage, picks up another sentry. Nice pick us out of Trigger. His 3rd base is on the way. That's all or nothing for SKillous. He's warping in slow lots, warping in Stalkers. Prism is coming out. And one way or another, either SKillous kills Trigger or he dies trying. More slow lots. Again, with only 1 Immortal though, I'm not too convinced. Does SKillous have enough? As Blink is going to be done in time. Blink is finishing. Trigger, he does snipe the Prism. Ooh, denies the warp in. No more reinforcements. The Immortal is exposed. Cannot juggle back. No Trigger, he's away from his own shield. But the boys are being pulled. Yeah, boys are being pulled. Diving in the Immortal. 2 more volleys. Does bring it down. And without an Immortal, is this enough? Gets 15 probes. Takes down the workers. We have more warp ins here, and SKillous does do a lot of economic damage at least. He needs more than that. Does need more. Trigger pulls away at F8 Plus into the mineral line. Jesus, more probes are going down. Trigger's with the shield battery. He's holding on. Yeah, he's holding on. Trigger, he should survive. Should defend, still losing more probes. 24 probe, 25 probe kills. That's crazy. Prism is rebuilt. Trigger, he will chase it down. Oh my god. Nice snipe. Nice snipe. Better kiting here. Remember, the soup is lying. SKillous does have a larger supply, that is true, but a lot of that is in workers. A lot of that is in probes. Bearing in mind that SKillous doesn't really have an army that, or the tech that can scale well into the mid game. Trigger, he has potential. He's down in workers, that is true. He has a worse economy, but he has 3 Nexus. SKillous, he does slip by. SKillous taking it the 3rd. He's got the safety model back at home. SKillous defends. And Trigger forced to recall. Oh, gets a Stalker. SKillous makes it back. Over time, Trigger can outscale SKillous with a faster 3rd, of course, with faster pro production. And you can see that SKillous, he's going for a 2nd all-in. Like SKillous, he's not expanding, he's not probing, he's building up to wave number 2. That is the 3rd War Prism. 3rd Prism is out. Actually, does go for the backstab, okay. Trigger is checking for the 3rd. Checking with the 3rd base. Nice big outside of Trigger. At the same time, Trigger, he wants to try to break through. Yo, let's go this way, lads. But now there's 2 Immortals. Now there's 2, soon to be 3 Immortals. With a higher Immortal count, SKillous can hold. He can hold his own. Shields are triggered. And Epsay do bust in. They bust into the main. 5 probes. 5 probes going down. More Adepts here towards the 3rd base. SKillous being so annoying with these Adepts. Ensuring that Trigger doesn't have a booming economy. He should, but he doesn't. And now there's 3 Immortals. And now there's just too many. A 4th Immortal's on the way. Charge is almost done. And Trigger is not out of the woods yet. Especially not against 4 Immortals. It's going to be a tough defense. Like, charge ults with Immortals are going to trade so efficiently against Stalker. Like, this is going to become very quickly an anti-Stalker army. And Ice Control pulls away the Zealots. Doesn't waste them. Against this, Trigger needs Zealots of his own, or Archons of his own. One or the other. Right now he's stuck with Mass Stalker. Results are coming. Trigger trying to slow this down. Behind this, we've got a wall of shield batteries. Jeez, that's a lot of shield. Okay, that's a lot of shield batteries. We got 6 shield batteries in production. It's gonna be 11 in total. There's already 5 done. Oh my god. Okay, now with 11 shield batteries, can he hold the line? Can he hold on back? Let's go. He should be able to. With blink control, he should be able to. I mean, I say that the Immortals have so much burst damage. Slow because they blink back, they blink away. Nibbling away at the Zealots. Immortals are trying to break through, but again, there's 11 shield batteries. It's crazy. Boys are being pulled. Does pull the boys, does bring down one of the Archons. The Immortals are exposed, and he's diving for the Immortals. That's all he needs. Gets 1. Gets 2, there's no support, and with that Trigger, he will survive the all-in. He will shut this down, and Trigger will snowball out of control. GG gets called. Trigger takes game number 1. Ooh, GG. Hi. GG, well played. A very intense game here. SKillous, he was 2 base all in the entire game, committing here on 2 bases. It all came down to the first Immortal. Remember, the first Immortal went down so early before the all-in really kicked in, and that took away so much momentum from SKillous. To lose 1 Immortal early on when you're going for an all-in, that was brutal. That was a brutal start for SKillous. With that, we saw that Trigger had a much easier early game. Yes, he lost a lot of workers, but as you mentioned, he had a 3rd base, so he could afford it. He could afford those losses. He could replenish those losses. And in the end, Trigger was able to survive and was able to get 11 shield batteries back at home. Was ready for the all-in. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're getting to game number 2, and we'll see if Trigger can claim the series 2-0 or if SKillous can fight back. Let's go. Shield battery, good units? No, 11 shield batteries. Alright, that's a good unit. That's as you were mentioning, a low shield battery count would not be enough, but just because of the sheer amount of burst damage that the Immortal has, right? Like, the Immortal has so much burst damage, where you can almost start one-shotting Stalkers. That's where shield battery is a little bit less effective, but over time, especially with Blink Control, he was able to hold his own, pick off those Zealots. GG. Aye. GG, well played. And here we go, we're getting into game number 2. Jumping into game 2 and spawning in the top right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the Teal Protoss player. We have the Teal Protoss, we have the Canadian Protoss leading the series 1-0 for Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous. Here we go. But again, a lot of it did come down to the first Immortal, it did come down to the first Snipe. Trigger did so well. If you recall, he went for the hallucination. He hallucinated 2 Stalkers. He was tanking a lot of volleys. He picked off 3 sentries initially. He got 3 sentries, and then he sniped the Immortal as well. So better early game for Trigger. But now we're loading into game 2. We're loading into the Old Republic. Another one of these larger maps. Larger map, much more exposed and difficult to defend 4th base, and even a little bit of an open 3rd. But there's a lot of space, a lot of area. Do we proxy? Do we cheese? But now Trigger just goes to the Perp Scout. So let's move out. Don't forget to hydrate, Pappy. Don't forget. So again, we are poking in. So far, standard openers, 2-gate opener versus 2-gate opener. We have our second pylon in the main base for both Trigger and SKillous. There's no fake out, there's no real proxy, but we do see Trigger setting up on the low ground. He did actually throw down his production further back in his main. A little bit greedier. SKillous going for the Stargate before Nexus. Okay, so earlier attack out of SKillous. Meanwhile, Trigger going for the earlier expansion. Now, the downside of throwing down your production far back in your mineral line means that there's no SimCity here at the ramp, which means you are vulnerable to Adepts. Speaking of, Adepts are moving out, and SKillous can threaten that main base mineral line. He's coming. SKillous is coming. We'll shade across. It's going to be a hyper-aggressive start here, going Adepts and going Oracle as well. Oracle's on the way, being chronoed. Let's say shade towards the main. We do see a Trigger does fully wall off in time. Whew. Does get the wall off, going for a Twilight Council as the tech of choice. Going into Blink. Looking towards Blink, chasing down the Adepts. So far, solid defense here by Trigger. So far, so good. It's not over. Adepts did survive. Adept survived, and the Oracle is now out. At the same time, Trigger, the hallucination, did scout the Stargate. Trigger, he's aware of the Oracle, he knows, and we don't have a shield battery in the main base, but there is an army. We got 2 sentries on the Stalker. Adept save 9 mining. Oracle dips in. Makes his way into the main. Trigger slightly out of position. There we go. Does react. He reacts well. Stalkers do body block. Pulls back the probes. We'll lose one. We'll lose... Oh, just one. Just one probe kill. Meanwhile, the Oracle takes a lot of hits, takes a lot of damage. SKillous did overextend. And so far, the Stargate opener hasn't been worth it yet, but he does have a second Oracle. 2 Oracles, they can one-shot probes. And the second Oracle will join the first. And again, the pressure's on SKillous to make this worth it. Bearing in mind that Trigger has faster Blink, and he has the faster Forge for faster +1. So Trigger will have a stronger mid-game if SKillous doesn't find damage. Speaking of, he commits. Yeah, he commits in. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, up to 6 probe kills. 6 probes go down. The Oracles are to survive, and he gets 7 workers in total. A very nice start for SKillous. Whew, nice start. Things are looking a little bit scary, a little bit shaky there initially. Oh. Yeah, stasis goes off. Third base is delayed. But SKillous will lose one of his Oracles. Lose one. The other is barely standing. And Trigger moves out. Remember, Blink is done. Blink is complete. Trigger, he now can move out and threaten the third base of his opponents. Remember, +1 is also going to be an earlier timing and a bit of a power spike here for Trigger as well. Does have a window available where he has Blink over his, sorry, where he has +1 over his opponent, and +2 as well. So the upgrade timing is going to be a big part here for Trigger. Meanwhile, SKillous, he needs to be active. Blink is now done for the red Protoss as well. It's done. Pokes up the ramp. But it's crucial he's active because it's allowing SKillous to get his own third. Get his own third base up. And now we're calming down. We're calming down, we're settling in. Thanks to all the early game aggression, SKillous does have a higher probe count. He has a slightly better economy. With that, is working towards earlier charge at least. Earlier charge, earlier zealots. So we do enter the mid game. Slowing things down, building up our gateway armies. Temple Archives on the way, so SKillous is just refining his army, going from Blink into Charge, into Immortals, into Archons. Getting into that ideal mid-game composition. But can he get there? Remember, +1 is done. Trigger has that upgrade advantage. +2 is on the way. Trigger, I don't think he has, yeah, he has no way to reinforce, so he can just poke in. Pokes in. And he cannot commit. And he cannot commit into the bases. SKillous, he commits in. Remember, charge is done. How many mortals do we have? 2. So 2 mortals apiece for both SKillous and Trigger. Armor supplies are close. Shield batteries are going to be a factor as well. Nice force fields. Army's going to be zoned away. But Archons, they break through the force fields. SKillous is going for the kill. Can he break through? Oh, he's trying to. They're trying to break through. The boys are being pulled into Archons. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Trigger getting desperate. Trying to hold that line. Nice shuttling with the Archon. Juggles back. A cannon is coming into play as well. And Trigger, he will barely hold. Yeah, he shuts down the Archons. Gets some of the Immortals as well. Whew. Trigger, he holds, he defends, and now Trigger has a massive lead. Remember, +2 was also a big factor. As Trigger is outscaling SKillous. And SKillous lost everything. He lost the Immortals, the Archons, the Stalkers. SKillous, he has almost nothing left, and Trigger, he's here to end it. He's here to end the game. He's here to claim the series. He's here to make it to the finals. Oh, baits out the stasis trap, collapsing on the army. Again, there's three Archons left. That's all we have, I mean, the Archons are getting some nice value here, but the third base should be broken. Should be broken, just warping into the face of SKillous. He cannot hold on. GG, and Trigger will take the series at 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Again, a very decisive play there out of Trigger. Game 1 was very intense, was very clutch, with SKillous going for the non-stop all-ins. Here in game number 2, SKillous was able to get an economic lead early, but Trigger, he had the better upgrades, had the better tech, had the better lead up into that mid-game. On top of that, he had the defender's advantage. He had cannons and shield batteries that were helping to defend that third. Even the boys being pulled did help as well, as he was able to pick off all those Archons and just snowball out of control. GG. GG, well played. Whew. With that, congratulations, Trigger. He will advance on. Oh. GG, well played. Congratulations to Trigger as it has advanced on to the grand finals, and now we have an all quote-unquote Korean finals, or at least NA versus Korea, as we head on over here. Remember, Trigger, he is back in Korea, of course, has been there for the majority of the past 2 years. It's been there. He did briefly go to Canada and go to NA for SC for All and for Stellarfest. That was in early November. But now he's back. And now we have our PVT. But congratulations, shout out to SKillous for making it to the semifinals, of course, did make it far. And even here in this series as well, had his own moments, but again, had a really shaky early game in game 1, and coming into game 2, likewise, had a really rough pushing into that third base. There was a lot working against him. The upgrades were in favor of Trigger, the shield battery, the cannon, the defensive position, the defensive advantage. GG. GG. See you. As we are getting into our best of 5. Now, before the grand finals, you know what time it is. It's Gamba time in a different way. Here we go. We are heading over to the raffle scene. For those that are curious, every single week for Sparkling Tuna Cup, we do have a random participation raffle. Basically, it's a way to spread the love. For this event, top 4 players are getting paid out, so Classic, Percival, Trigger, and SKillous, they are in the money. But this is another way to kind of spread the love a little bit further, and anyone is eligible as long as you actually competed. For example, Triple gave a walkover win to Percival. So, for example, Triple is ineligible for the random raffle, but everyone else, players like Ragnar, Letalix, Milky Cow, GgMaChine, the Mega, all players are equally eligible here for 5 USD. Nothing major, nothing too massive, but a nice way to just spread the love a little bit, to spread the support. And the question is, who's going to win this week? Hashtag rigged in the chat, baby. True. Let's go. As we do quickly open up our raffle. Oh my god. Oh, there we go for the Sparkling Tuna Cup. This week we have 15 players. We have 15 eligible players for the random raffle, and one player walks away a little bit richer. Who's it gonna be? Oh. As this week the random raffle winner is one of our finalists, Percival. GG, well played, Percival. Double dipping, papi. Oh my god. He's made it to the finals here. He may even win the tournament, and he also walks away with some extra prize money as well with the random raffle. Of course, as always, hashtag rigged in the chat. You can see that Christiana was the runner-up, GgMaChine, Milky Cow, alongside Max Moore, and Nick Racht as well. Here we go. We're loading into our fresh series here. But again, congratulations to Percival, denying the other players from earning any extra prize money here as they load it into the grand finals. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran. It is Percival. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our best of 5 grand finals PVT. Now, coming into this, Percival did defeat Classic, and Classic, he is the highest rated player in the tournaments. So Percival did take down the favored player to win the event. That is true. But at the same time, Trigger, he is also one of the best Protoss players in the world. He is the best in NA and one of the top Protoss players out there. So I will say that he has good standing. I would say he's actually very close in skill with Percival, closer than Classic is, and we might even see a back and forth. That's what I want to see. I want to see a game 4. I want to see a game 5. Regardless of how this turns out, I want to see that back and forth, regardless of who wins. Not a 3-0, but we'll see. We'll see. The pressure is on. And again, best of luck in the chat with your predictions. Best of luck. Not an easy one to predict. As a reminder, I believe Trigger, didn't he beat Percival at SC for All, if I'm not mistaken? Let me just double check. And it was actually a bit of a more one-sided series, if I recall correctly as well. It was a best of 7. Let's see here. Yep, best of 7. Trigger, he did defeat Percival 4-2. 4-2 in the finals of that LAN event. But I should also remind you that that was quite some time ago, right? That was quite some time ago. That was in the previous map pool. That was with a more unique map pool, I should say, in the previous patch. That was back in early November. So different era, different map pool, different patch. Different strengths, different weaknesses. But a Trigger does have that win over Percival. True, true. That best of 7. As for now, we are going to be opening up. Again, double gas opener out of Percival, faster factory, delayed CC. Opening up initially here with Reaper Hellion, no early add-on. Not yet. That's big enough, does get a probe. Gets a probe, pulls away. And where are you taking us here? Okay, going for the reactor on the racks. From here we can add on swap, or otherwise we could commit into further tech. Starting off with a mine drop. Okay. Starts off with the mine drop once again. Percival, he's building up his army. He's going for the dive. And can he get some more probe kills? He gets 1. Gets at least 1. Boys being pulled away. A chaotic defense here by Trigger. To lose 2. 2 probe kills. A very nice force. Oh my god. Very nice force field. Locks down the Reaper cliff and takes down both Reapers. Nice defense there by Trigger. He holds on, he defends, and he goes back to mining. So 2 probes with 2 Reapers. I would say a better trade for Trigger. Better defense. And Trigger's playing it safe. He's playing it safe here. Robo's on the way. Second gateway as well. Staying on 2 bases a little bit longer. You know, here it comes out with a mine drop. Drop does boost across the map. As Percival does make his way in. Slipping into the main base. Oh, wouldn't mind Zoop over. Trigger, he does pull away in time. And even hallucinates to bait out those shots. Not bad. Does hallucinate. Snipes 1 with a mine, but Percival does at least survive with the medevac. Oh, he actually goes back in. Yeah, a little bit greedy there. Percival goes back in. He does not get any value, though. The water mine does go down. Hellion into the natural, and he'll get a couple of volleys off. He might actually get 1 probe. Not even. Probe pulls away. Trigger defense. No dead workers here. Clean defense by Trigger, both in the main base and in the natural. Doesn't lose any probes. But at least Percival escapes with the medevac. True. Medevac does survive. So at least he gets away, but again, this was a better defense from Trigger. Behind this, going for the bait, going for Colossus. Nice, getting into his third as well. Was a 2-gate blink into a third base. And Trigger is getting to the mid game, not in a bad position either. Trigger is holding his own. Meanwhile, Marine drop across the map. Oh! Trigger, his main armies across the map actually trying to contain. Back at home, there is going to be a shield battery at least. Can buy some time. There's no recall into the base though. And Percival slips in. It does slip in. Late reaction, late response. Probes are going to go down. Massive damage. Getting 4 or 5 dead workers. Getting up to 6. 6 probes and pulls away. So nice backstab to Percival. Again, Trigger, he had a late reaction. Had a late pull out. So shaky defense. And again, very necessary damage here by Percival, considering how lackluster the Widowmine drop was. So we have a back and forth. Have that back and forth. Behind this, Percival does expand. Trigger scouts. He's aware of the CC, so we're building up into the mid game. Trigger looking for the medevac. Looking for it, so plenty of space here in the corner of the map. I'll survive. Oh, going across the map with the Colossus. Okay. Bold move. I mean, he can nibble away at the push, true. I mean, I say nibble, it's a big nibble back. The Colossus. He's crazy. So Colossus moves out. Percival likewise doing the same. Okay, Percival, he does respond. He has some reinforcements back at home, but he doesn't turn around with the main army. Colossus turns around. Okay. It's curious. There's a recall back home. Trigger, he identifies that the army is coming his way. Races back, zones away the drop. But he doesn't slow down the push. Oof. Doesn't slow it down. Tanks are moving in. Can they get within range? Tanks are late to siege. Yeah, very late to siege up. Mine shots going up, both tanks go down, and Trigger, he holds. Yeah, he does hold, does shut down the push. Again, that was a brutal moment there for Percival. He was late to siege up, he was caught out with his pants down, and now Trigger has momentum. He has momentum. Defense back at home, the third base is exposed. Percival, can he hold on? That's a lot of Widowmines. And shots going up. Forcing a bit of friendly fire. And Colossus juggles in. Prism is going to go down. Nice pick up. Takes on the Prism, and Percival, can he make a stand here? The Colossus, though, still just getting so much more damage on the army. Picking with the Marines, Zelsa wreaking havoc in the middle line. 11 SCVs go down. Gets 11 workers, and again, if the War Prism was here, Trigger could just go for the kill. But again, War Prisms are late. Reinforcements are delayed. Nice time for the Raven. Raven goes down. Trigger, he commits in, getting as much damage as he can. The Colossus will eventually fall. But he gets so much damage. And now we have another Colossus. Yeah, second Colossus rallies in. And it looks like Trigger, he has too much. He has too much. He has broken the third base, has broken the main army. Percival, he cannot defend. The CC may even just go down. GG gets called as the CC falls, and Trigger takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Percival had a very rough fight. Honestly, the early to mid game, they were going back and forth. There were some nice moments for Trigger, nice moments for Percival. Percival, he got 6 probe kills across the map. Trigger, he defended well against the Widowmine drop, so he had that back and forth. But Percival, he committed across the map with his main army, and he got caught unsieged. That was the moments that all the momentum swung heavily in favor of Trigger. Just a really rough fight there, a really rough fight for Percival. did take a loss, and again, he was just racing back home to defend. Trigger, he knew that he had momentum, he just committed across the map, may have lost his War Prism, but barely had enough to keep pushing, and did eventually break Percival. GG. GG, well played with that. Oh, there we go, sorry. I don't think predictions opened properly, my bad, my bad. With that, GG well played. With that, Trigger does take lead in the series, and I will double check the predictions. Yeah, my apologies. There we go, my apologies. But if you're in the chat, predictions are now open, and place your bets on who you think will win the series, as predictions are open. But again, unfortunately I didn't open them at the start of the series, so my apologies. But there we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the Canadian Protoss player, we have the Red Protoss leading the series 1-0. But again, it's best of 5, and we have potential to have a longer back and forth. That's what I want, at least. It is a Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Blue Terran down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this. It is Percival. Here we go. Let's load into game 2. Well, no, yes. Here's 1-0. We just casted game 1. Just casted it. Game 1 was on title. And looks like we're going for a single gas opener, rank expand, economic start out of Percival. We see Trigger being as annoying as possible. But yes, the score out of game was incorrect previously, so it did fix that up. Ooh, as a bit of miscontrol there by Trigger, the probe does get sniped. Did delay the CC, but not quite worth losing a worker. From here, welcome one and all to White Rabbits. White Rabbit is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Larger map, longer rush distance by ground, and this does favor longer macro play. But we'll keep an eye on our players. Keep an eye on them. There's a much higher chance that Percival's going to build up to the mid game, but we'll see if he is a little bit more tame in his mid game aggression. Not the first time we've seen Percival move out and be punished for it. We saw the same thing with Classic in his series versus Classic as well. Did see something similar. But let's go. But now, Twilight Council even out of Trigger. It is still viable to go Stargate, and we do see Stargate play to players like Max Pax and Hero and Classic. But Trigger, he isn't really one to deviate too much. We should just be seeing more standard play out of Trigger. So now he's setting up. I see in the YouTube chat. Not quite recently, you mentioned that Classic has been quote-unquote nerfed by the current map pool, which doesn't support his playstyle. But could it be that other players are figuring him out? Not maybe, kind of. I would say maybe like if I would be generous there, I'd say that like both might be factoring in. As I mentioned before, and it's applicable even here as well. There's a lot of maps that are very open at certain bases, and aggression is more favored. I'll say that this is a map, for example, where you can build up in towards the mid to late game a little bit more freely. There are maps like that, maps like Title Citadel as well. But in general, I would say that aggression is favored in this patch, more so than last patch. And it can be difficult to slow things down and to tech up. So I would say that's why his Classic has been struggling a little bit more as of late. So I would say the Protoss players are still adapting to the patch itself. For example, if we were playing on the previous map pool in the previous patch, I would say that Classic, his strength would still be there. I would not say that like players are like figuring him out and would punish him in that map pool and in that patch. I would say the Classic will still continue to have success there. Oh. So far, nice damage to the natural. Hellions, they bust their way in. Ooh, probes are going down. Again, 3 Hellions, they one-shot workers even. I mean, there's no shield battery. 8, 9 probe kills. Ay. Brutal damage early on. Again, the drop was really mainly a distraction, and the Hellions, they dealt critical damage here at the natural, and Trigger is going for the counterattack. He has to. Blink is done. Trigger moves out, and we'll see what he can get done here back at home. We have a bunker. We have bunker at the natural. Tanks in the main. Percival, he is set up. And Trigger, he gets 2 SCVs. He gets 2 SCVs, but doesn't get much more than that. Only 2 SCVs, still trying to apply some pressure. Behind this Trigger, he's taking up in towards +1, charge, in towards Colossus production. But Trigger has had a very shaky start here to game 2. Very shaky. Now, Percival is not following this up with an all-in. We do have a third CC. Third CC is on the way. So we are trying to build up. Now, once again, we did mention that White Rabbit is one of the larger maps of the map pool, so this is going to favor Trigger when it comes to trying to stabilize. But the reality is that Percival does have momentum. He's going for his double drop. The Observer does not spot the move out. As Percival does sit past. And Trigger is unawares. Back at home, he hopefully should have a warping available at least. Here comes the main push. Observer gets spotted. Trigger gets distracted. A drop comes in. He's going for the main. Going for the Artosis pylon even. Oh. Going for the main base. Colossus is back at home. Trigger, he should hold his own here. Oh, not enough support. Not enough support. The Colossus is exposed. He's going for it. Oh. That picks up. Main arm is pushing forward. And this could be a rough defense here for Trigger. Again, he lost so many probes earlier. That's why he has so much less to defend. Tank does siege on the high ground, and Trigger is just zoned away. He's just cut off from his own bases. Diving on the Colossus. Shout out to the shield battery. Oh my god. The shield battery holds on. The battery saves the Colossus. Tanks are exposed. Reinforcements are too late. And Trigger, can he hold? Can he survive? He is. He's holding on, Bobby. Oh my god. Yeah, the MVP shield battery. Jesus, as he does hold on to survive, saves both Colossus. Percival going to be forced back. And that lead, that momentum that Percival he once had, not quite there anymore. That was meant to kill, by the way. That was meant to kill. I would also say this is where the map comes into play, where reinforcements were delayed just because of the size of the map. That also did help Trigger. Again, Dodds barely holds on, getting his 4th base up and running. Trigger, he is stabilizing. He's recovering. Let's go. And the game will continue. From here, Percival is taking up. We have the Ghost Academy on the way, building with a Ghost, building up into Vikings. Trigger getting his 5th base, double expanding. Getting his 4th and 5th base up and running. Now, when it comes to White Rabbits, one, it is a very large map, but it's also going to be a little bit more difficult here for Percival to expand and get his 4th base. It's not going to be an easy expansion to take. 3 bases will be fine, but we'll see if he expands towards Trigger or away from him. You can see Trigger is checking for bases. So I'll say fan out to the 4th locations. Checking for expansions. And so far there is none. And Trigger, he shouldn't move in until Percival expands. Once he tries to take a 4th base, then he's going to be spreading himself thin. Then there's going to be an opening. Yes, Trigger, he's maxed. Because he's maxed, he can start to move forward. He's got a massive amount of zealots here. 30 zealots, oh my god. Nice EMPs. EMPs do connect. Vikings get 1 Colossus already. Jesus. Yeah, dragging the army through the minefield. And can he hold his own? Zealots collapse on the Ghost. Ghosts are going down. A 0 goes left. Massive pickups. And Trigger, he's done it. He's done it. He has broken the army. Still got 1 Colossus remaining. More zealots have arrived. And Trigger just snowballs out of control. The Disruptor even coming in. Nova goes off. Oof, does connect. And GG gets called. Trigger, he will take a 2-0 lead. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Alas, unfortunately, no SimCity at the 3rd base, no SimCity outside in between the 3rd and natural either. So just a free road there, just free reign here for Trigger, just moving in between the bases. Nothing to really stop him, nothing to stop the surrounds, and with that does overwhelm. And again, just a really impressive defense out of Trigger, winding it back. Trigger, he was in danger, he was in trouble. I'm referring to the first tank push from Percival. He was able to wedge himself in between the bases, he was distracting Trigger as well. He almost won the game then and there, but the shield battery saved the Colossus. The Warpins came in time. Trigger, he barely held on, and GG, well played. Trigger will take a 2-0 lead. And does Trigger just take the series here and now? I mean, he just may. One more game is all that Trigger needs here to take the series 3-0. I want to see it back and forth, but the pressure is on Percival. Let's go. Let's load into the Old Republic. Ooh, this is a very difficult map for Terran. So winding it back here, especially when it comes to, I mean, what we just saw, for example, on White Rabbit, the bases were spread out, and you saw that the bases were very open as well. Same thing is applicable here on the Old Republic as well. I would say that your 3-base setup is more secure on the Old Republic, but the 4th base is very open. We'll get into it. So this morning in the bottom left-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the blue Terran player. We have the South Korean Terran down heavily in the series. Can he bounce back? It is Percival. Here we go. Here we go as we are getting into our next game. And again, so far this has been a rough series for Percival. He's down 2-0. Can he bounce back? Now, very quickly here, welcome to the Old Republic. Coming into this, I would say that the 3-base setup here is more secure. What is the difference between the Old Republic and between White Rabbit? The 3-base setup is close together, so the 3rd base is closer to the natural. On top of that, we have a ramp here, a very narrow ramp that you can wall up and wall off and defend. Likewise, a ramp coming into the 3rd base as well, so a much easier to defend 3-base setup. But the 4th base is more out in the open, it's further away, and it is very exposed, whether it's the low ground 4th base or the linear 4th base. It is very difficult to defend. So if we end up in a similar scenario where Trigger has map control and Percival is turtling up back at home, I have to favor Trigger, specifically on the Old Republic. That's if that's the game state we end up in. Otherwise, we could see Percival be more aggressive earlier. We could see some 2-base play instead. We'll see. But again, we've seen many a player attempt and fail to defend the 4th on the Old Republic. Go. Let's So now we are building up. As Percival, he's being a little bit cheeky here, so he does go for an economic start. He went for a Rax Expand, and he's opening up with Concussive Shell Marauders. Now, what is the goal here? Percival did go for an economic opener, and he's hoping that Trigger tries to punish him. He's hoping that Trigger responds with Adepts or Stalkers, and speaking of, Adept is rallying across the map, and Percival, he wants to try to catch the Adept. And gain momentum from there. Speaking of Trigger, he scouts, he does get out to the Marauders. Oh, he rallies in. Yeah, he still rallied in, and that's going to be one dead Adept. A miscontrol here by Trigger. Better start for Percival. Takes down the Adept. With that, Percival does gain map control. Behind this, going for a much faster second Rex. Percival being hyper aggressive, setting up for either a 2-1-1 or a 3-rack setup here. So hyper aggression out of Percival, as opposed to the previous games, late starport. Very, very late starport here. As yep, it is a 2-1-1. So there are two forms of 2-1-1. There's one variation which does lead into really fast stim into an early stim timing. Otherwise, another build that's been very popular is to go for a mass vanilla marine army, vanilla bio army, and support the army instead with Vikings and with Cyclones and with tanks, and just commit to a 2-base all-in. We just rally across the map. Clem has been very fond of it. Clem, Maru, all the Terrans have kind of sprinkled into their series. We have the answer, early stim. Okay. So we're rushing into early stim. Again, Starport was delayed for this. And this is going to be a very early, very strong stim timing. Ooh, as he picks off 2 Stalkers. Yeah, 2 Stalkers go down. A Trigger, he is struggling here early on. Boys are being pulled. Trigger getting desperate. And remember, this is the 1-2 punch. The Marauders, they do dominate the early game here, just bullying back Trigger, keeping contained. Picking off Stalkers, Adepts, Probes as well. And then bam, 2-base all in. And Trigger, he has no vision. He has no vision, he has no scouting. Behind this, he is going for 2-gate blink into a Robo into a 3rd. Oh, greedy build out of Trigger, delaying his 3rd gateway. So fast 3rd base, late 3rd gateway. Trigger, he still doesn't know what's going on. You can see Percival here is on the high ground, hoping to catch the Stalkers. As stim is almost complete. How many tanks do we have? So far it's going to be 1, soon to be 2. Soon to be 2 tanks. And we're waiting for Percival to pull the trigger. Oh boy. Here's that second tank. Percival, he should be pushing soon. Yep, there's the Unsiege. Here comes the push. Here comes the move out. And again, this is going to hit like a trunk, a Trigger. He has to slow this down, but unfortunately, he's still unaware of it. Now he does spot it for the first time. Spots a move out. Gets a Marine. Ooh, he trades a Marine for a Stalker. Better trade for Percival. Immortal has arrived. Doesn't quite get the Cyclone. There's your early siege. Oof. Task Force early siege. Trigger, he has to buy more time for warp-ins. Charge is halfway done. If he can buy enough time for charge, then he can hold. Oh, there's the first stim. Yes, stim is revealed. There is a shield battery. Nice snipe. Very nice snipe here by Trigger. The control. Picks up the Cyclone. Pylon goes down, depowers the shield battery, but charge is almost done. It's almost complete. We need a couple more seconds. 12 more seconds. 12 more. And with charge finishing, I believe Trigger should hold. How many Zealous? He blinks in. Oh, a brutal blink. Tries to spread out. Zealous trickle in. And Trigger holds. Trigger, he does barely hold on here. Zealot legs just in time. Picks off all 3 tanks. And Percival, that was meant to kill. That was meant to kill Trigger. He was insanely committed here. Behind this does have a 3rd CC on the way. race back. Races back home. Oh my god. Jeez. At least he saves one of the tanks. And now Trigger, he can enjoy his third base. Double Forge behind this. Bay as well for Colossus production. The game will continue. Now, thankfully, Percival did get a third CC. So thankfully, he was able to expand behind this as well. But again, didn't get the damage he was hoping for. And we spoke about this in the beginning of this game. Old Republic, it is difficult to maintain a fourth base, and this is applicable to whoever's stuck at home. That's going to be Percival. So Percival's going to be stuck at home. Trigger, he has map control. Trigger, he's free to expand and get his fourth base, and eventually a fifth. The pressure's on the Terran. Pressure's on Percival. I do appreciate this being active, okay? It's being active. Does catch a Stalker. Nicely done. Every time I hear them howling, I think of Warcraft 3. It's nighttime. Ah. The camps have gone to bed. I don't think we've had an SC2 map that has a day-night cycle. I don't think that's happened. For now, Percival, though, again, he's being active. He has to apply some pressure. He cannot fight the main army head-on, but he could, you know, get some probes, get into a mineral line, pick up a pylon here and there, catch a stray Stalker. Speaking of... Oh, doesn't quite get it. And we're building up. Sensor towers, missile turrets, bunkers are being thrown down, depots. If you remember, this is what was missing in on White Rabbit in Game 2. The Sim City, the walls, as Percival was turtling up. And he's working towards that 4th CC. Speaking of, Trigger should have a 5th. Should be working towards his 5th base. Percival going for the low ground expansion. Bold move, but he does have tanks on the high ground. Now when it comes to this base, you can engage from either side here. Has a much more open kind of engagement area. We'll see if Percival can maintain this 4th. Not going to be easy, but he's going for it. Let's go. The easiest way to defend your 4th base is to just fight for map control. Just fight for map control. Be as aggressive as possible. He's got 8 Vikings. Gets a Colossus. Oh! Yeah, it does miss control. Doesn't save the Colossi. Lift up the Immortal instead. And that was a decent pickup out of Percival. But he's being bullied back, and we did mention it again, like he has to fight for map control as best he can. Making a stand at the 4th base is not going to be easy. There's going to be a planetary, but we are lacking depots, lacking bunkers. We're lacking that defensive setup. Trigger is maxed. And Trigger should be pushing soon. You can see that supply disparity, and it's only going to get smaller as time goes on, as Percival is building up his army. Oh. Prism is zoned away. And even if Trigger takes a bad fight, as long as it doesn't lose any gas units, it should be fine. Like, you just trade zealots. Decent EMPs collapsing in. Colossus goes down. Takes down the Colossus. Zealots, they peel off onto the high ground. They try to catch some reinforcements. Once again, we get some decent EMPs, and Trigger pulls away. And Trigger pulls away. Zealots, they trade decently well. Trigger once again poking in. Does force a cancel. Committing a little bit harder, trying to get into the middle line. Yeah, 15 SCV kills. Zealots, they do get into the middle line. No, SCVs are going down. Percival getting pulled apart. I think just really careful, very patient play here by Trigger. He did not just A move in, he pulled back in, was dancing with the army until he found an opening. Did lose all the Colossus, true. He lost 3 Colossi, lost 2 Immortals, bled out a little Stalkers throughout the course of this game. Trigger, he might be sticking around a little bit too long. Gets a Marauder, gets 2. Picks off 3 Marauders, better pickoffs here by Trigger. Pushing towards the 3rd. And we'll bring down the bunker. Bunker goes down. And again, Trigger has no intention of breaking the base itself, but just getting some damage, pulling away, slowly building up those Zealots, reinforcing with the Colossus. Building up their main army before he can collapse on the planetary. As Trigger's getting a 6th. Getting a 6th base. Now Trigger, he pulls away. Oh, Prism goes down. The Vikings are somewhat exposed, but they can maybe get the Colossus in time. Yeah, 2 more volleys. And the Colossus does go down. No more Colossus. Zealots do get into the natural, getting more SCV kills. The main army is busy. Zealots get into the main. Get into the main base. Trigger going further in. Gets 2 Liberators. Oh, it's a one-way trip. Yeah, it's one way. Trigger has he overextended. He's going to get surrounded. Pushing further in. Yeah, losing his Archons, losing his Zealots. Tries to escape. Oh, he's still pulling him apart. Yeah, it's still worth it. Still getting more CV kills. And you can see the aggression just doesn't end. It just does not end. It probably should for a moment. Trigger, I don't know if he can break the planetary. Oh, Colossus within range of the turrets. He's within range, takes a lot of damage. But the planetary does go down. Massive pickoff. And he's done a GG, gets called. He breaks the planetary, he breaks Percival, and Trigger, he will take the series 3-0. Becoming this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. GG. GG, well played. And Percival, he does join one of the many players that has struggled, has attempted and failed to defend on the Old Republic. As we mentioned, it is so difficult to defend on this map, to defend specifically your 4th base. Percival, he fought hard for it. He was keeping up for the most part, but you saw he was just pulled apart between his 3rd base, his natural, and his center 4th base. In the end, he was broken. GG, well played. Congratulations to Trigger for becoming our champion. GG, well played. Congratulations. GG, congratulations. Again, shout out to Trigger. I know he's streaming his POV. And of all players here, a lot of hype was surrounding Classic, but Classic, he got knocked down early. Instead, we had Trigger popping off. We had Trigger instead excelling here in the bracket. Exclamation mark. Be in the chat if you want to have a look at the back yourselves. As you can see here, we had Percival. He had a crazy performance here, taking down Cristiano, taking down Classic, but did fall in the finals. Trigger, of course, he is the best player from the Americas region. He's one of the best Protoss players in the world. Did stumble against Nickrack. Nickrack is a hyper-aggressive Terran player, and Nickrack's best matchup is TVP. That is where Nickrack does excel most. That's where he pops off. I mean, he even beat Clem recently, if you recall. So Nickrack, he can pop off. He is an animal in that matchup. Did take a map off of Trigger, and the only player to take a map off of Trigger as well. True. Esther Nickrack. So he can walk away with his head held high, is what I should say. So shout out to Nickrack, of course, being the only player to take a map. Meanwhile, SKillous, he did have a chaotic PvP against Trigger earlier, and then of course Trigger claiming the series here in the end. It was still very intense, still very back and forth. I will say that Percival did hold his own. I will say that this series wasn't really reflective of the skill level of Percival, as again, it was still a very intense series. Winding it back, for example, referring to here on the Old Republic, Percival, he was hyper aggressive on 2 bases, and he barely didn't break the 3rd base of Trigger. Bearing in mind that Percival, he lost a lot of momentum after his all-in failed. Remember, he went for a 2-on-1 early sim timing, and he failed to break the 3rd base. Trigger, he did buy enough time. He was able to force the early siege, pick away at the Marines, snipe the Cyclone, and buy enough time for charge. That was a big moment where he bought enough time for charge, then bam, he could hold on, he shut down the tanks, and from there Trigger gained map control, and we spoke about it. Whoever has map control, they typically win on the Old Republic. Like, it's like map control is so crucial in the Old Republic, and with that, Trigger did snowball from there. Previously, before that, if you recall, we did have game 2 on White Rabbit, where we also saw a really clutch defense out of Trigger, where Percival had momentum. He killed 9 probes. He killed 9 probes at the start of the game. Percival, he moved that across the map, and he was also intending to kill, and he barely didn't kill Trigger. If you remember, Trigger, he had the shield battery. The shield battery barely kept the Colossus alive at his 3rd base. He was able to recall and respond from his main base as well. He barely defended his main, even though I thought the Colossus would go down there as well. It was a very close defense, and Trigger barely held on to White Rabbit, and then snowballed from there. GG well played. It was both game 2 and game 3 where Trigger, he barely pulled off the defense and then just snowballed out of control. Shout out to Percival, of course, for fighting his heart out. GG well played, and also for winning the random raffle as well. True. Did win that random raffle. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate the support. And again, big shout out to Trigger. I know he's streaming at the moment, and you know what? We'll give him a raid. We'll give him some... Never mind. God damn it. I was gonna raid Trigger, but Trigger, he just turned off the stream. Shaking my head. So Trigger, he just went offline. Otherwise, I would have given him some love. But you know what? Regardless, if you're in the chats... Hold on. There you go. That's the link to Trigger's Twitch channel. Unfortunately, he only sometimes plays StarCraft. He's often playing Osu. It's the Trigger. It's like, but regardless, support him over on Twitch. Do check out his channel. He was streaming his POV. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And again, if you want to support the CranKy Ducklings, if you want to support this tournament, this is a weekly tournament, and we've been running this weekly for many years, more than the WarDCB Monday or Pegasus Cup or the Monday Night Weekly as well. Again, this is the 114th edition of this tournament. That's crazy. Oh my god. I think unironically, we are the longest standing Open Cup. I have to specify Open Cup because I believe the Legacy Weekly Japan has been running a lot longer, of course. Legacy Weekly Japan is a regional Japanese weekly tournament, as opposed to this one, which is open to all players. So again, this is the longest standing Open Cup out there. The only others that could rival would have been like the EPT Open Cups back when they were around, but they did fall by the wayside. Like Go for SC2 isn't around anymore, Zotac Cups, Lei Feng, Olima League, they've all fallen by the wayside, but Sparkling Tuna Cup has been around since forever, yeah, at least compared to all these other Open Cups. So if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. You can support us over on the Patreon page. That does help us fund tournaments, fund our events, and of course boost the prize pool even further to have a bigger prize pool and have a monthly tournament as well on a regular basis. So you can help us reach that goal via Patreon. So thank you so much all of our supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much. If you become a patron, you don't just support the event, but you can also gain benefits like replay packs. We do give out replay packs on a regular basis. I did see that someone earlier was asking about Christiana versus Percival and Classic versus Percival. Those replays are available if you wish. They're going to be available to our subscribers and our patrons, and we also give out replay packs from other events that we have permission to share, like StarCraft Evolution League, for example, like Pegasus Cup, like Hatchery Cup, and a lot of other open tournaments. There are some events that we don't have permission, like the WarDCB Monday, we don't have permission to share that, or like KSL, we don't have permission to share that either, but for the most part, we do share those replays. OSC events, we do share those. We do share like OSC King of the Hill replays, for example. So plenty of replays are available if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. You can also support us via following us on all the socials. !Socials in the chat. We have our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. We're all over the place, so you can follow us there. We do stream on YouTube at the same time, and we also upload on YouTube on a daily basis as well. So plenty of content on YouTube. When it comes to our weekly schedule, bam, that's Percival winning the random raffle. True. Did win the random raffle. But when it comes to our weekly schedule, you can see our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow evening. WarDCB Monday. That is going to be tomorrow evening, as you can see here on the schedule. We also have StarCraft Evolution League on Tuesday. We have Pegasus Cup on Wednesday. We have a TTT Turtle Tussle on Thursday, the Pondcast on Thursday, and we have the RSL offline finals over the weekend. Now, as you can see here, it's scribbled on. That's like tentative. What I mean by that, the RSL finals are over the weekend. but I don't know if we have permission to co-stream. So we're gonna have to find out. We have to find out if we can co-stream. If we can, we will. If not, we won't. That's. And if we won't, we'll try to organize something else. I think we have some other replays and other events that we can cover over the weekend. But that's RSL. That's RSL on Saturday and Sunday. Two-day event for RSL. And again, we might cover it here on the channel. Depends if we get permission. Does depend. But that's our schedule. That's our schedule. The cup's been running so long that it's flowing over. Oh, does someone turn off the tap button? Turn it off. But thank you, Oguya. Thank you. Shout out to Selensvard as well. Easy fill in the chats. Gracias. But otherwise, thanks for watching. And stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. I don't know who. I was going to raid Trigger, but we'll find someone else. Give him some love. Give him some support. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time we'll see you tomorrow for the Wardy TV Monday. See you tomorrow. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. Hasta luego.